Okay, on we go to Street Talk for this week, Gemma. Clickbait me up before we get started on chatting about what went down on the cobbles this week, what we got. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for sending this over, as always. I've not read any of these. I'm looking forward to finding out what you got.
From the Mirror, Coronation Street Swala finally reunite, but fans issue major complaint.
Oh, it must be about the speed of it, the haste of the reunion, right? Oh,
well, yeah. I mean, it's many things, isn't it? It's that they didn't chat or like have a heart to heart or talk about the fact that Carla was stuck in a.
Well, shall
box.
we? What did you? I think you were more bothered about it than I was, weren't you?
Yeah, because I was expecting more out of it, because it is true, I think, that Swala is treated differently by Coronation Street. I think they know that they have a massive fan base, and I think it's probably the first time I've become aware of a shipping fandom on Corrie that wasn't Carla. I know we had Carpet, but I never knew.
I think only
Carla
we called
and
it Carpet.
I think they called it that themselves. But I did.
That's Carla and Peter, for those not in the know.
There weren't very many, or if they were, they never sort of came across my radar.
No, I think the Carla and Peter lot just hung around the fan fiction places and wrote their own stories and then kept themselves to themselves.
But with this, I thought they would put a bit more effort into the aftermath. And I honestly thought that was the point of the story, to be honest with you. I thought all of this was leading to some big, like, romantic reunion or some big, like, meaty heart-to-heart with really interesting scenes of them talking about it. We got those scenes, but they were all Carla telling Lisa that she sucks. And I'd rather they spent less time with that and more time of them getting to the bottom of what happened and why they think they're going to learn and move on from it.
I know what you mean.
And I'm not invested in relationships on Coronation Street very much, and I'm not going to say that. I like Carla and Lisa. I'm not
romantic relationships, you mean?
Yeah, I'm not a shipper. I don't really care about that. I'd rather everybody just was friends. Honestly, I just don't care. But I felt a bit misled.
I was hoping that Carla would take Lisa to task more.
No, but she did that already. I feel like she did that, but Lisa didn't have any response.
No, yeah, I suppose
like,
so. I mean, Carla...
Lisa really could have made an account for herself that would have felt quite genuine. And, lots of Swallow fans have been saying that she's been coerced and abused and manipulated by Becky, which, you can definitely find plenty of evidence to support that. You can also find plenty of evidence to support the fact that Coronation Street doesn't particularly think that was an important element of the story, and it was more about being, soapy spectacle of...
Yeah, no, ooh, look, she's giving her a massage and now they're going upstairs. So I definitely was on Carla's side at no, I'm not just going to jump back into your life as soon as Becky's got the cuffs on her, thank you very much. You hurt me, you treat me badly, you let this woman into my house, you knew how I felt about it, and I told you time and time again, and you still were saying, oh no, she can come and live with us, and then you go and sleep with her. But it was just odd because I can't remember, I've lost my days of what happened this week, but at the beginning of this week Carla was still very much sort of stony faced and saying, seriously, I'm having nothing to do with you, sorry, and then it was just okay then, back to normal, because Lisa turned up drunk at Chariot Square.
Yeah, and I feel as though maybe it's a victim of the 22-minute episodes and the fact there's only 5, because instead of a big speech or a heartfelt reunion, they did a shortcut of Lisa's written a note. She's written a letter, and Carla's read it, and it's sort of satisfied her that Lisa deserves to be forgiven. I mean, it would have been nice if we'd been able to see that. I do think that is...
What, the letter?
Yeah, you can't... We've had months and months and months of this relationship breaking down very slowly. And not even one scene that felt like a satisfactory conclusion. It just sped run right through to like, oh, you don't get to see the apology that happened on a note that you can't read.
Well, even like in the dialogue on, was it Wednesday, I think, and Carla was saying, look, I want to take it slow, and that's fine if that's okay with you. And I was saying, yeah, okay, that makes sense, take it slow. And then it was like, well, let's just go upstairs anyway, so it doesn't have to be too slow. And by the end of the week, Betsy's buying noise-cancelling headphones because of their amorous rutting.
Well, why did you say that?
What? That's what it is.
The evidence, I mean, she said, let's take it slow, and then that never manifested itself whatsoever because they're just back as they were.
I'm to be perfectly honest, when they came into the Rovers on Thursday, I think it was, all loved up, part of me was just like, I get that it's annoying and it's clearly rushed, and I'm not surprised that people wanted more out of it, and really it should have gone on longer narratively, but we all knew where the end point was going to be. We all knew that it was headed towards it, and we have had so much Lisa and Carla this past year. There was a part of me that was saying, okay, I'm going to let this one slide because it is a foregone conclusion. I don't need another whole episode dedicated to it necessarily.
Yeah,
they're back together, hooray.
I get that argument.
And I think maybe that's what they were possibly leaning towards, just saying to the viewers, go on, that you want them together, don't you? You go. Just, I don't know. That was kind of my feeling. So I'm not as mad that happened so quickly. I just wish that Carla had done more, because she was just a bit smarty and stroppy. I wish that she'd explained a little bit more, rather than just huffing around and not wanting to talk to Lisa.
That's part of the problem, isn't it? It feels like we've had hours and hours and hours of Becky getting to do whatever she wanted and manipulate Lisa, and then could they not have spared 10 minutes to have an actual sit-down conversation?
I mean, could you?
I don't know.
Is it?
I'm
fair?
not the only one that thinks that. That's why I feel.
No, I know.
Like I kind of feel like I'm taking crazy pills a bit, because I know they've had conversations since Becky left this year about their relationship, but I just don't feel satisfied by the reunion. It was a very, and they all lived happily ever after, no more questions.
Yeah, kind of thing.
But that's what I mean. It was really weighted so heavily towards the destruction of that relationship that it just doesn't feel like balanced.
I think Corrie can sometimes do that, and I can't off the top of my head think of any examples, but often a storyline will lead to a big climax and you think, oh, it's exploding,
that happens
and then it's
all
done.
the time.
Even sometimes on some of the big weeks, like the Britain's Got Talents week, it's like lead up to this big thing on the Thursday maybe, and Friday everything is diffused and kind of fizzled away, and say, don't ask any more questions, we've got other stories to go on with now.
But we were also talking together about this, and you said, oh, maybe they'll talk about it next week, maybe. And I've seen other people say, oh, I can't believe that's it. I'm sure they're going to talk about it properly. I'm sure there's going to be a conversation. And maybe people will get mad at me for saying this, but next week I just won't care, because they've got back together now. They've moved on. To have them come back next week and then talk about it would be so unsatisfying and weird.
Horses bolted by that point, hasn't it?
Because it only makes sense to have that conversation leading up to a proper, like, lovely reunion. And it was really nice to see the three of them in the pub together. That was really cute.
Yeah.
But also, equally, it was so bizarre to see all of the, like, factory gang going, hey, back together again. I would be going, are you guys, can you believe they're back together again? And her dead wife had a car crash.
I know.
And she ran into the road, and Billy died. And then we find out that Carla was locked in a bloody storage container, and she'd been locked in a cupboard, and her kidney was buggered to hell again.
It was very much let's just never talk about it again. And it's like, remember that episode of The Simpsons where it turns out that Principal Skinner isn't actually Principal Skinner and he's an imposter. Do you know the one?
Yeah.
And then the real Principal Skinner gets put on a train and carted out of Springfield at the end, and Judge Schneider declares that we're never going to talk about this again, and as far as we're concerned it never happened. It kind of feels a little bit like that. And yeah, I think that we might see bumps in the road.
There was no reckoning of anything.
No, we had you know, we had Sally come round on today's episode, and that led to a little bit of tension, but it was sweet tension. That there was no feeling at all like, oh, has Carla made the wrong decision? Does she feel like she's made the wrong decision? Is the
I mean,
Lisa, I still say should still be grovelling a little bit more, but but the long and short of it, still to me, is I don't really care, because we've seen this reunion from a mile off. Like, you know, when did they split up? 3 months ago, or 4 or 5 months ago that Becky turned up. We knew that we were going to get to this point. I'm happy that we're there. Let's move on. And I think that
I think a lot of people are ready for that to happen. I just don't think it narratively satisfying.
No, I mean, there's clearly going to be, they're going to get back to the hang on a minute, weren't we engaged before kind of thing.
They were talking about.
Yeah, so
and their rings.
So there's going to be your wedding this year. I think, like I said, probably in the 2025 review and elsewhere, that this could be the beginning of a quieter period for Sally and Lisa.
Sally?
That's right. Oh, maybe there's a Carla.
Is that your prediction?
Yeah. What would their shipping name be?
I don't know. Salsa.
Sweat calf.
Sweat calf. I like salsa.
Salsa, that's good. That's very hot and spicy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Anyway, that was the first clickbait. So look at the conversation that's led into.
I had more to say, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, we got to talk about the storyline when we get there, haven't we?
I think we've talked about it now.
What's next on the old clickbait radar?
Coronation Street fans baffled as they spot Roy's role blunder from the Manchester Evening News.
Oh, really? I've not heard this one at all. Blunder in Roy's roles. I
didn't catch this when it was happening.
Is it something to do with like a prop or decoration?
It was a character. Something happened with a character, and then.
Oh yes, I do know what this is.
I thought you might.
This is to do with, was it Kit?
Yeah.
Coming into the cafe and paying for something but not actually getting something. Was it that?
He paid
£5 or something.
£5.75 for nothing.
Yeah. And old honest Roy didn't go chasing down after him up the road and says, excuse me, I think you've forgotten to take any of our produce.
Well,
Too busy texting his mate Alice, wasn't he?
Maybe Kit came in to pay £5.75 for bangs and mash he had last week.
Could be. Okay.
Coronation Street's Roy Cropper becomes victim as fans rumble murderers return from the Mirror.
From the Mirror. Okay, so did you know anything before this week
God.
about the fact that this was going to be a clickbait story? Because I didn't.
A clickbait story?
I'm getting all my words wrong. Catfish. There's even a cat sitting right here. That should have been a clue. Did you know this was going to be a catfish story?
No, because I thought they forgot about it.
Well, I knew that they hadn't forgotten about it.
Did you? How did you know that?
Well, because they wouldn't.
Oh, don't give me that.
No,
they wouldn't.
They
wouldn't.
No,
they
this
would
was
never.
This was the seeds of something.
Michael, you watched this show long enough to know that they would forget stuff all the time.
I don't, but it was clearly put there with a purpose, in the same way that Maggie looking in Ken's cupboard had a purpose, in the same way that Trisha has a purpose.
Releasing the will.
But I didn't know this was going to be catfish at all. I genuinely was surprised when we cut to that scene this week of mysterious stranger texting away Roy. By the way, I do love Roy's text messaging style. That must have taken quite an effort to have formatted using your Nokia 3310. In fact, I'm going to say that's probably not possible to do on a Nokia 3310 to do it at quite that level of formatting.
We need to get an expert in.
But I don't remember. It's kind of funny because to us, when they cut to that scine, it's like, oh, remember that phone? Remember when everyone had one of those?
Yeah.
Do you remember typing your text messages like that? But there's probably not a fairly sizable chunk of the audience are going, oh, look at that. Dark Ages machine. Literally, they've had no experience of anything pre-smartphone world.
Of course.
And that was all the rage. That was everything in. I can't remember when I got my first phone. Whether it was like 99, 2000, 2001,
I never had
something
one of
like
those.
that. I didn't have that one. I think I had a Nokia 3210.
I never had a Nokia.
Oh, you were an Ericsson girl, I think, weren't you?
I don't know.
Oh, you had a little pink flip phone.
That was my favourite, the clamshell. I like being able to hang up on people.
But you can get, I think, like modern Nokia brick phones that you're supposed to be able to buy for your kids so that they really, really can't go on social media and just get a VPN.
Well, they'll be banned soon, won't they?
Well, I think they'll find ways around it. So I'm surprised Roy didn't have something like that. It literally looks like it could have come out of the drawer from his first episode. But anyway, that was fun. So the clickbait is that fans rumble murderers return, right? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember who's done what and who's done killing and who hadn't killed. Because my immediate assumption was that it was going to be Griff.
Yeah,
but Griff,
that makes sense to me.
Griff hasn't killed anyone, has he?
No, but
he's just been a bit of a racist.
This is just clickbait.
Yeah, but there must be.
It doesn't mean it's not Griff.
No,
it just means it's not the guess.
I would like it to be Griff because I think we just got a real soft spot for Michael Condren, hasn't he? Because he's like the loveliest guy.
He's really nice.
But I'm thinking it must be somebody that we know, otherwise they'd show their face.
Yeah.
I mean, not.
Maybe it's Shona's dad.
Maybe it could be, but maybe it's Graham. Yeah.
Yeah, could be, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think if they reveal who it is now and it's not somebody that we know, I think it's going to feel like a letdown as in well, why didn't you just show his face? Because what's the difference between cutting to a total stranger and cutting to what we saw, which was a bit of a sideburn and a bit of a side of the face? My immediate thought was, is that Griff? And I couldn't tell, and then the scene went, and I didn't have a chance to look at it again.
The answer's not Griff.
The answer, no. But so who do fans think it is according to the Mirror?
No, you tell me. Aren't you supposed to guess?
A murderer's return. I don't know. Is it somebody that's related to Roy still? Sorry to land that one on you.
Well,
most murders in Coronation Street end up getting killed themselves, don't they? I mean,
yeah.
Is it Jim McDonald? He did a kill once.
No,
he's got one on his hit list.
Not on this guess. No.
Okay, go on. Who is it? Who we got?
Somebody guessed Kevin, who's not a murderer.
No.
And I don't think it is Kevin.
He just kills the mood every time he walks into a room.
Kills the vibe. Rob Donovan.
Oh gosh, again, not Dob Donovan. It could be. Maybe I need to go. I need to go and watch that scene back again now. I do kind of half feel like
it makes sense because he's in prison, but I don't think the prison service would let you pretend to be somebody else. Well, they read your letters.
I also think that if was the scene in prison because it was difficult to tell.
No, he's not in prison.
Right. Oh, okay.
Isn't he? I thought he was just sitting in a front room.
Look, that's what I would say. It's more like a front room. And usually when we've had smuggled in burner phones in prison, they've got to be able to fit up certain orifices. And maybe Roy's 3310 is a better choice for that. But yeah, Griff's definitely in prison. Rob's in prison. I feel like there is some unfinished business with Rob still, though. But what's Rob's beef with Roy? I don't. I mean, through Carla, there's a link there, isn't there?
I can think of.
But
if Alice starts saying, "What's your favourite pudding?" then we'll know.
Yeah, exactly. What would Roy's favourite pudding be? It's probably
Eccles cake.
Something a bit bland.
With a bit of cheese.
A bit of like rhubarb crumble or a bit of a spotted dick or something.
Why are you saying these things are bland? What's not bland then for you?
Croquant bouche.
Croquant bouche?
And obviously une flottante. All the French puddings.
Oh my god. I don't think any of those things are bland. Eccles cake's not bland.
Okay, no, it's not. I just don't like it. So, yeah, the question is it somebody... We don't usually make our clickbait last this long, but but these are good. Really... But no, it's fine. The reason why I started putting these clickbaits at the beginning is to kind of get up the main talking points of the week, and I think this has done a good job here. So... The question is it somebody who is purposefully targeting Roy because they've got a grudge against him? Or is it somebody who's just like a random, I'm going to come along to I'm going to accept your invite to the Bat convention on Monday and, I don't know, bunk you on the head and rob you blind? I don't know. But yeah, I think it's more satisfying. It would be more satisfying if it was somebody that we knew. I say that Rob's still got a bit of history possibly, only because of Mandy's baby. That must be out by now, eh? She was pregnant properly back in when was it, January, February that he was in? So it feels like we could see Rob again. My other off-the-wall, out-there prediction of who's somebody that could potentially have beef with Roy.
Yeah.
Christian. Hayley's son, Christian.
And he probably would be that age now.
Yeah.
Beardy man.
He could be a beardy man by now. And that's the last thing that I want to see, because Christian is definitely a character. If I maybe this could be in the top 5 characters that we'd like to be retconned out of Coronation Street. Christian would be right up there, because he was a bit of a retcon himself, wasn't he? And he was a very nasty man. So,
well, it would make sense that they kept bringing up the anniversary of Hayley's death.
Ooh, yeah. He did go on about that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Suspiciously now.
Gemma was, every time that he mentioned it, you were like, Roy, you're such an ass. Why are you making everyone feel bad for not remembering it?
It wasn't the fact that he brought it up. He just brought it up as like a gotcha. Anyway.
Yeah, so maybe that. I had another idea in my head then, and it's gone. I can't remember what it... Oh, maybe long shot. Maybe Wayne's gone bad.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'd have him back, wouldn't I?
Well, I mean, there might be some perfectly innocent reason to pretend to be Alice.
Yeah. It feels like at the beginning of the year, they just, like, throw a load of villains into the mix. Or they're starting to. Like we had with, Carl last year and Theo. And it's like, who's your villains of the year? Get him in early. So I'm intrigued, but I'm not necessarily excited by the idea of Roy catfishing story. But hey, this Bat convention is on Monday, so I'm sure it's going to come out before we know it.
Yeah.
Is that it for our
Well, there's other ones,
this
but I
week?
think we've spoken enough now.
Okay, well, it's time for our storyline titles, Gemma, of the week. I think I've possibly only got one new one this week. Let me just have a sneaky little look. Oh, we've got the Megas Preggers storyline, obviously, which we had last week. I do have a storyline title for the Carla and Lisa reunion. So Carla has got Lisa back together. She's decided to give it another punt and tries to stick with her for a little bit longer. She has got a lease extension. There we go. Thank you. I'm here all night. Shoujo is next. Then we've got a bit of pros and cons, which I would have replaced with who the bleep is Alice, but that's a bit obvious, isn't it?
That was a great song.
But pros and cons, honestly, that's one of my favourite storyline titles in a good long while, and I'm not ready to let go of that yet.
Well done.
I do like that one. And then for the Carl one, I've just called Carl a Connor, which you might have had before, actually. But I don't know. I don't feel like he's going to be in the show. I certainly hope not for that much longer. So if I haven't used Carl a Connor, because he's been conning people left, right and centre, then why not now? Gemma, I would like to offer you the chance to do the Megas Preggers story, or would you like me to take this one?
I'll do Megas Preggers.
Give the lease extension. Okay. We've not really talked about this. This wasn't much part of the clickbait, was it?
Nope.
What's your feelings before we get started on the Megas Preggers developments this week? Are you on the edge of your seat for this one? Because they certainly wanted you to be, the amount of scenes that they shoved into the week to do with this.
Will you tell me?
No, I just want to know. I don't mean to, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but any particular, I know that in the past we've said that this storyline hasn't particularly sparked a whole lot of interest or excitement and joy. Did anything this week arouse anything more there in you, or was it still a bit of a ho-hum one?
Well, beyond what I'm supposed to think.
What do you mean?
Well, you're supposed to be like, oh, what a horrible cow.
What, that Megan is?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but they still want you to enjoy the storyline as well. I feel that it was just weighted a little bit too heavily this week in favour of these two characters who are both new characters and are both kind of unlikable characters in scenes together. It doesn't make for a good watch,
No, I know what you mean. I'm just a bit baffled by what her long-term plan is. Because she's not stupid, but she doesn't seem to have thought through the fact that she's told some people that she's not pregnant and other people that she is pregnant. And I assume that she is pregnant, but if she is, then everyone's going to know.
Well, she showed Will the...
Why would you lie to Leanne and Eva, especially Leanne, because you're going to live with her?
I can't...
How are you going to explain what's happened?
Didn't she say to Will, like, I'll go and hide out somewhere or something? I don't really know. But you're right, it is a little bit short-sighted. I think that she is just, honestly, naively thinking that now that he is 16, this is somehow, more acceptable than it was before.
I think you've completely misread her, honestly.
Why?
I think you're supposed to take from what happens at the end of the week that she kind of churns through these boys one by one, and as soon as they get past a certain age, she's no longer interested.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I've definitely, I think I said on the show last week, had the impression that he doesn't make her heart flutter in quite the same way that she does his. But then she'll sometimes say, I don't know, it's hard.
She obviously preys on these young boys because they don't know any better, and she can sort of lead the relationship in a certain way. Now she's pregnant with a baby that she thought she could never have, and perhaps she always wanted to be a mother, and so that's why she's keeping the baby. But I don't think she's got any intention of staying with Will. I don't know why you thought that. Because that's what she said doesn't mean it's true. Like the fact that a new boy's on the scene that she's discarded already.
So do you think that she's just would happily go off on her own and raise the baby herself at this point?
Well, not happily, but I think that she would not even alone necessarily. She could go, move away from Will and get a job somewhere else and do this to another boy.
Yeah, I think Lee's inclusion in the week definitely make us look at her in even more of a unpleasant light.
It's always so gross when you find out how many victims these people have. Yeah,
exactly. So do you want to go on? Let's run down it. Monday's episode. What they get up to, the dirty things.
So Will it's her that's dirty, Michael. Will, don't be mean to Will. It's not his fault. He's being manipulated.
I know.
So Will's back first day at school after being suspended, and Ben's like, buck your ideas up. Then Leanne comes in and says to Maggie that she wants to buy her out of the Rovers.
This was brought up last week, wasn't it? I think it was last Friday's episode where Eva and Leanne started concocting the idea that maybe the two sisters could go together and buy Maggie out. Maggie didn't want anything to do with it though, did she? Not interested.
No, she's mad. Eva's like, oh, that's an interesting idea. Maggie's not fooled at all and accuses Leanne and Eva of plotting against her. And Leanne's like, look, this place could be brilliant. Maggie's not convinced.
Do you think that are we assuming that Maggie's going to have a bit of a short shelf life and this is just testing the water and maybe we're looking a year ahead or however long and Eva and Leanne will be there? Leanne behind the bar of the Rovers just doesn't fill me with that much joy. I do like those two together. Toya makes three, but Leanne's got the resting bitch face is a bit more suited to the more snooty vibes of the bistro for me. Yeah, and this is why
she
people
doesn't even work there either.
No, but she did. But she fit well.
She fits there.
But this is one of the things that people aren't enjoying about Maggie: the fact that she's just there, kind of pouting. And same with Lauren.
At least she's good with the customers. Lauren isn't.
Yeah. Can you imagine going to going to the classic British pub? Hard day at work, rain's coming down. You just want a bit of conviviality, and you open the door and then you got Maggie, Lauren and Leanne all just pouting away behind the bar. You better have the right change.
Yeah, I'm not excited by the prospect of Leanne in the bar, especially because I just don't think that it makes sense if you've got a couple. Eva and Ben should be the landlord and landlady.
Yeah. Without
a third wheel there. Maggie makes sense because she's the mother-in-law.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'm certainly not.
There, it's like no.
Yeah, I'm certainly not begging for that to happen at the moment. I wouldn't be as adverse to it as maybe you would, but give the Driscolls a chance. But this is why they shouldn't have brought them in with so many dramatic, controversial, dark stories before they've properly, got a chance to settle in, exactly.
So
too late for that now.
Will sees Daniel and Megan at school having a hug, and he's like, rah, and Daniel's like, tuck your shirt in, and goes inside, and Megan's like, oh, my stomach, and Will's very concerned, but she tells him to go back inside. He comes home from school later on, and Megan's told him she can't see him. And Eva says that she needs a rest, and you should go if you want training, you should go do it yourself. Just go run around or something. But then he catches her coming out of Daniel's flat, and Megan says, "I'm going away for a little while." And Will's like, "Oh my God, you're dying." You're so old. You must be dying.
I do feel sorry for him because he clearly is. Obviously, he's being manipulated, but he's there. He's definitely worried about her, isn't he? He's trying to pretend. He's trying to take on some kind of grown-up responsibility.
I know. He's got no idea.
He's totally out of his depth in it.
Can't, like, it's obvious. Like, he doesn't know anything.
No.
He's so innocent in a way.
Yeah.
He's got no. He's like, oh, I'll look after you if you ever get sick. I want to spend every second I can with you. And then she says, I'm not dying, I'm going to have a baby. And it's your baby.
Oh my gosh.
So they head into Villain's Alley and Will's freaking out a little bit. But then he starts smiling and she says, I'm going to go away and stay with my sister for a while. And he says, no, look, we need each other. We can get a house. We can go live by the sea. And she says, look, people are going to find out I'm pregnant soon. But we can't do that. We're gonna have to wait.
It's funny that is his reaction because you think a lot of lads.
When you're little, but when you're young like that, you do have these idealistic view of like, oh yeah, I'm getting a job, get a house.
Maybe if he'd been a few years older, he'd have been like, can't prove it's my baby, nothing to do with me. But he is so besotted with her and blinkered, isn't he? That I think maybe this reaction does make sense. But it's just been kind of funny because we've seen him just be glary and moody and sullen and pulling these faces for months now. And as soon as he found there could be a little Will coming along the way, he just his heart was melted, he was smiling, he was idealistic like you said. It's just, it does make me feel a bit more sorry for him, but not too much because I don't really like him. Sorry, Will. It's odd, just like I said, having so many scenes with these two unlikable characters. I hope he can change in some way when the story's over. Because he's good. Do you think he's got a future in the show? Is Will sticking around?
I don't see why not.
No.
What could happen?
So, and if that's the case, I just can't be doing with this version of Will. Maybe we know once Maggie is gone, but he'll be down in the dumps more. And I know people have said
he won't be because they'll just rewrite his personality.
But what I don't want is for that, like, oh, you were groomed, you need counselling, and to see him going through all that. No, that does not sound very watchable at all. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
Well, Will, the actor who plays him, who is Lucas Hodgson Whale, like in his headshots and stuff, when he looks really sweet and nice. He's with a nice smile, and I don't recognise him really from this picture of him.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
I know. And he's doing a good job of.
Yeah, he is.
Not coming. I don't think he's clearly not supposed to be coming across as likeable. So he's got something right there.
So on Tuesday you got the breakfast table with Eva and Maggie, being mad at each other.
Well, they're just it's mostly Maggie, isn't it? I think Eva would happily call a truce and that be the end of it because she doesn't want to be in a family that's full of discontent. She's only recently become a member of the family, and as the outsider to this very strong, tight-knit clan, she doesn't like feeling that her presence there is, upsetting the apple cart. But Maggie, she's like, I don't care. I
know. This is why I can't. I know you really, really like Ben, but I find him quite detestable because
Do you really?
Only from the element of the fact that he is forcing this relationship to happen because of his stupidity, because he needed the money and he put his mum in, she's financially involved in the pub. They don't get on with each other. They wouldn't live with each other if it wasn't for him. And he's not saying, every so often he goes, Ma, stop, and it's like, look, I know this is supposed to be funny, but it's not funny enough that I can overlook how toxic this is and how it really is Ben's fault for forcing them to live together. And if I was Eva, I'd just move. How could you live your life with this woman constantly putting you down, undermining you and sniping at you every single day? She'd be dead. If that was me.
Eva must
put up with it.
All I can say is Eva must just be hoping that one day Maggie's going to get over it.
In your own home like that, continuously, and it's like she's being bullied.
I wonder whether the fact that Eva's not married to Ben makes her feel a little bit more fragile, because we know that she's not adverse to wedding bells. You know, she
well, you don't know who
got engaged to Aiden.
You don't know whether they've spoken about it, and she said, "I don't want to get
married."
She
might have changed her mind since then, like Toya. Exactly. Maybe no, they're not blood related.
Maybe
in the
Toya
slightest,
and Eva
are they?
could get married together, just to stop the speculation about whether they get married to anyone else.
But I think that Eva really does love Ben. I think that she loves Will. I think that she feels like she belongs to that family.
Yeah.
And I think she does fear that if push came to the shove, Ben would take Maggie over her.
Well, yeah, because he's weak.
Oh, but I still love him.
I would like him if it wasn't for this, and I don't think it's supposed to really crush your mind. I don't think Coronation Street's writing a story about toxic mother-in-laws. I think they just wanted a funny dynamic, but I don't think the writing reflects it being light-hearted and fun, because I don't think it's funny enough.
You're right, it isn't. And I obviously made the comparisons to Ivy a few weeks ago because I think they're supposed to be... I mean, that was a classic Corrie mother-in-law, wasn't it? But
you knew that she was the villain. You know, Ivy was the... And she was like the antagonist. And it's the same here.
Ivy...
And who was the... You had Bert and you had the kid.
Brian.
Yeah. And they were clearly supposed to be weak, weren't they?
Yeah. Brian was supposed to be the mummy's boy.
Yeah, and Bert was like a weak-willed kind of...
Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of Bert.
But you wouldn't say that Bert and Ben were similar.
No.
In every respect, Ben seems like the sort of guy who'd tell his mum to stop her stupid nonsense, and if she doesn't like it, get out of the house. Because there's nothing that Eva's done or said that would make anything that Maggie's saying to her justified. Well, I mean, it's not like Ben saying, "Oh, I get word point though because you did this, that, and the other thing."
He did throw Maggie out a couple of weeks ago, didn't he? And within the days, she'd been able to worm her way back in. Because, like you said, she's his weakness. But obviously, she's got a bit of a dark secret about their family past, and I think that possibly could be something that Ben can't come back from. If and when that inevitably comes out.
What's confusing me is that I thought Eva had a bit more self-respect than this.
Yes, I think that Eva of old might have stood up to her and said something a little bit more.
Shut your trap.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
But she wants the Rovers. We saw how happy she was when Ben took that blindfold off.
How can you be happy living somewhere where you're being constantly sniped at? How could you enjoy it? It would turn your dreams into a nightmare.
I think I see Eva as a bit more of a kind of an optimist, bubbly sort of thing. I trust that things will turn out okay. I just need to stick through it kind of person. But as I said, Eva's not quite the same Eva as the one I remember before. I think the other one probably would be a little bit more forthright in her opinions about Maggie. And she's got away from her. Like when she tries to get away from the pub as much as she can.
Who does?
Eva does, doesn't she?
Yeah, well, I've said what I mean to say now.
Okay, fine. Let's move on.
So
there's more Megan more Will. What's her name? Maggie to come later.
Eva's trying to get her to Sal, but she won't. Will tells Ollie that he needs to ask Lauren out because he fancies her, and there's still this like flirting all week between Lauren and Ollie.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I suppose with Dee Dee, she must have been a good few years older than him then, if he's now interested in Lauren, because I see quite an age gap between Lauren and Dee Dee.
What? Not really.
Do you not?
No more than 10 years.
No, yeah, I mean that. But
well, if he's in the middle, then it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, it is, but it's just funny sometimes. Like you say, he felt more suited. When he was with Dee Dee, it didn't feel like, he's really young for her.
I know.
But he does feel a little bit old for Lauren. I don't know.
I don't think he does. But hey.
I've seen a few people online quite interested in the idea of those two together. Doesn't fill me with a whole lot of joy, I'm going to say. But if it puts a smile on her face, then let's go for it. But I did enjoy the scenes this week where she was being... I think that the Maggie and Lauren scenes were quite funny, weren't they? When Lauren was... come to get her wages, and Maggie's like, well, that's what you're there for. Because no, what was it? Maggie just doesn't get on with Lauren, does she? And she's like, "You're here to do your job."
But Lauren is
Don't need to like you.
a terrible barmaid.
She is.
She was saying, who was it she was talking to?
Someone wanted some red sauce.
She's like, "You want me to go all the way in the back to get it?" Yeah, I do. It's not. It didn't strike me as funny because it was so stupid.
Yeah, there is a bit of a different vibe there now. And it's, we had that joyous period over the summer last year where Glenda was there in the Rovers, and it just felt a fun, warm, lively, welcoming place to be, didn't it? And then even with Jenny there, with Gemma there even, and going into the Rovers at the moment, you're not really getting that much of a service with a smile, are you?
It's just because Lauren seems to be completely mentally challenged about what her job is. And I don't think that she's supposed to be an idiot. But they're writing her like she's giving bad service because she genuinely doesn't understand that she's actually the one who's supposed to go and get the ketchup. Whereas there are so many other ways to make her a bad barmaid than just ignorance.
But I'm wondering whether...
Do you know what I mean? Like, she could have gone, well, you shouldn't have any ketchup because it's got loads of E numbers. You know, that kind of thing.
I wonder... I just, it doesn't feel like a right move to have a surly barmaid. It's not like she's a kind of Tanya Pooley kind of...
No, I don't mind. I think there's...
I suppose it's just like Betty, isn't it?
I think that the actress...
Kate Fitton
could really... You know, she's good at it. I just think the writing at the moment, the lines that they're giving her... They're trying to make her funny. It's like she's funny and surly and everyone's like, oh my God, how is she? That's fine. You can do that, but not by having her go, oh God, I can't believe I'm being... It's just
yeah, you
silly.
can have a deadpan character who is lovable, and I'm not getting that from Lauren at the moment.
No. Anyway,
maybe, yeah.
Megan comes to the pub at lunch and asks if Leanne is still looking for a roommate and says, oh, I'd love to. And then Eva says, how did you get on at the clinic? And she just non-committally says, I think I made the right decision.
Yeah, because the clinic was last week, wasn't it? Yeah.
So from that, and Leanne asked her before she went in, are you sure you want to go ahead with this? There was no indication about how Megan came out of that. Like, I assume that Leanne waited for her and she didn't go, well, if you're going to have an abortion, I'm going home. Like, she obviously waited for her to come out, and then there would have been another conversation where Megan it would have been unavoidable for her to have not answered directly about what had happened.
I'm trying to remember what the scenes were after the clinic last week.
What I'm thinking is, like, is Megan going to pull her... Oh, I never said I actually did it. You just got confused. That's going to be how she gets out of explaining how she's still pregnant. Why make Eva and... That's the other thing. Why make Eva and Leanne think that she had a termination? Why? Because she didn't want them to find out. Well, they're going to find out because she didn't... I literally can't think of a reason.
Maybe she was still just a bit undecided about what she wanted to do.
I know, but at
Does
this
she
point,
want to stick with
why
Will?
not tell them? Especially if you're going to live with one of them.
Yeah.
So there can be a dramatic reveal for some reason.
No, don't worry, you don't need to put an extra box of tampons on the home delivery from Amazon.
Will...
No comment.
Well,
that's what women do, isn't it?
Easy. Right, Will and Megan have a conversation where she says there might be something wrong with the baby.
Oh no.
Which is odd because why is she saying that? Unless it's true.
It's because she's got abdominal pain, doesn't she?
Does she just not know?
Yeah.
I guess she doesn't know. Maggie, Leanne offers Maggie £160,000, which is a lot of money for Leanne to have.
Is it all just bistro proceeds? I mean, she said that she would sell speed dial, didn't she?
Do you think she's turned it around so well with her bargee fries that suddenly it's worth
maybe
a lot of money?
Maybe.
And Leanne's like, well, fine, screw it, I'm going.
She's the street food restaurant inspector. She just goes in, turns it around, and waves a magic wand, and then floats off to the next place.
Definitely see Leanne doing some kind of job like that, where she walks into someone's house and she's like, or restaurant, she's like, this is a tip. You're an idiot.
She could be the next Alex Polisi, couldn't she?
So Leanne's like, fine, I'm going. But as she goes to leave, she nudges Maggie's chair and she just tumbles to the floor in the most dramatic fashion possible.
Oh, Jesus wept.
And then accuses Leanne of pushing her over, and everyone's just staring at how...
Well, Lauren, it gives Lauren yet another excuse for the eye rolls, doesn't it? I've seen lots of discourse about this scene online. I feel quite like...
It was very Maggie. I think if you don't like her, this won't convince you.
No.
This isn't for fence sitters, is it?
No. I've also seen people saying, "Oh, it was a really bad performance. She was kind of holding onto the bar and lowering herself down." But it was supposed to be. She's not actually falling over. She's using it as she's just being over dramatic.
It's really hard to get. I'm acting in the scene where I'm acting, right? And I don't think many of them are that brilliant at it. I'm going to be honest. And I never really call it out when I see it, because I think everyone can see and judge for themselves what they think. In this situation, it was supposed to be over the top and dramatic.
Yeah, because she's lying there on the floor, just kind of wanting people to come and care for her, and wasn't she? She's kind of looking and half opening her eyes and going, "Oh, down here, someone's going to come and rescue me and help me up," and everyone was just like, "Come on, Maggie, what are you doing?"
It worked very well to sort of demonstrate that this is a woman who has what's the word? She's not concerned whatsoever with anything except getting her own way, and she I don't think she can conceive that people would question her because of Ben, like and all of she surrounds herself with all these male relatives who dare not question her and think the sun shines out of her bum, or I don't know what she expects from them, but she obviously clearly doesn't like women. No,
I think it also goes to show and confirm that she does love to be the centre of attention. This dramatic performance, and that's why she likes to be the landlady of the Rovers Return. She likes to be the person, but she hasn't got the name above the door, does she? Because it's either the licence. But she likes to know that it's her pub. She likes to be the one that's saying, "Yep, this is my pub," which is why she doesn't want to sell up.
I've definitely seen videos of people, and unfortunately, a lot of them are middle-aged or older women falling dramatically to get attention. Online, stupid, funny internet videos, and I've definitely seen quite a few women dramatically screeching and rolling around on the floor when all else fails.
Well, we've all seen the clip of Annie Walker falling into that pit outside the Rovers Return, that one episode, haven't we? If you want to talk about people making a dramatic performance about falling over in Corrie, though.
Well, I can definitely see Annie Walker doing this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, Jack! Oh.
Yeah, if Billy brought home someone that she wasn't too keen on.
So, at this point, Ben has come home, and he is sweating and having heart palpitations, and he needs to sit down, and so...
He hasn't got time for Maggie either. He's still kind of yappering on about the fact that she was nearly killed by Leanne.
As soon as he says this, Eva phones an ambulance, so the whole family goes to hospital. And Will is there, and I'm not really clear on whether he's gone with Megan and he happens to be there already, or if he's gone with the rest of his family.
Yeah, I think it was that, because he's there sitting looking through how far along's your fetus leaflets, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which he stuffs inside his wallet, and I am
really
gobsmacked by the fact that we've reached the end of this week and nobody's found this yet.
I know. Or Eva didn't say, "What have you got? What's that?"
Yeah.
So she just assumes he's there to see his dad and whisks him off to see Ben, and then Megan pops out of the side, like, "Oh goodness, we nearly got caught."
Yeah.
As soon as I saw this kid with that pregnancy leaflet, I'm like, "Oh, he's going to be so controlling and dangerous now for Megan. He's going to give her all this, because he's going to read all the rules about what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and he's going to start telling her, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't eat cheese." Think? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We already told her that stress is bad for the baby this week.
Yeah. But like you said earlier, I think it could just be a case of somebody young and naive.
No, I'm not saying he's I'm not saying it's because of a sinister part of his personality. Okay. I'm saying when you're a kid, everything's super black and white, and if you get given a leaflet on something, you take it super seriously, and and you're also used to being told rules that you have to follow. When you're a grown adult, you realise that everybody has a certain level of autonomy, and perhaps the pregnancy leaflet is telling you things, and some of them you might do and some of them you might not do. Like, you might go, well, I will drink tea, but maybe I won't put vodka in it anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, if Meghan does want an excuse to sever ties with Will at some point, I suppose she could go down the route of, look, you're just being too controlling, you're telling me what to do,
but
I'm my own woman.
You know, he's got this trump card now that's his baby, or he thinks it's his baby, and whether it's Daniel's or Will's, we're not...
or somebody else's.
I mean, I think some people did a bit of pregnancy maths and worked out that it probably isn't Will's, or it could be.
I saw people saying
that it's not his,
because it was the baby was or the fetus was dated as 8 weeks. Or Meghan was told that she was 8 weeks pregnant this week, and it was 6 weeks ago when it was Will's birthday. And then people were trying to work out, so were Meghan and Will in a sexually active relationship before his 16th birthday? I kind of got the impression that they were, and they had their special hotel rose petal kind of scene there, didn't they? But the fact that this Lee this week made it very obvious that he'd slept with Meghan when he was still 15. She's clearly got no...
How did you get that impression?
Well, Lee says to Will, yeah, I slept with her.
Oh, sorry. I obviously was looking at my phone.
Yeah, and that was quite an important point. And Lee also said to... It's all right, we all miss things. Will says to Meghan at one point in today's episode, sorry, Lee does, I'm 16 now. So she clearly did sleep with him.
I think there's a lot of confusion about whether Will and Meghan were together for the first time on his birthday. I think I'd assumed not, but a lot of people did, and I can see why.
Yeah, I assumed not as well.
I don't think it was clear at all.
But I don't think it particularly matters for the pregnancy.
Well, it does
also
matter,
said,
because if she didn't sleep with him before the birthday, it can't be her baby. It can't be her baby. It can't be Will's birthday.
No, but then I saw somebody saying online that when fetuses are dated and how far through pregnancy are you, it's dated from the date of your last period.
Yeah,
and that could have been 8 weeks ago, but actually she could only be 6 weeks pregnant. So it would still fit
not
in.
really, it's considering it should be a science, it's not really a science. Because it's to do with women, and who cares about them?
Wait till it pops out and then just count
Measure
back from there, yeah. Count the rings.
Yep.
So I think the long and short is it could definitely be Will's baby and it could definitely be Daniel's baby. Yeah. But it's interesting because she's absolutely convinced that it is Will's, isn't she?
No.
Well, she's telling him it is, but we've not seen any kind of feeling of could it be Daniel's?
No, because we've not heard from her. We haven't heard her truthfully saying anything.
No.
Have we? When she ever said anything truthful? Because she's the only time we really see her, she's in conversation with Daniel or Will.
Yeah.
And we know that she's lying to both of them.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel, what else could he think other than that baby's mine the minute that she starts to show?
Yeah.
So that's going to raise a few very awkward questions. And is she going to go along with the fact that saying, yes, Daniel, it is yours, because she's definitely doing everything. She's very happily going out with Daniel at the moment.
She's going to tell Will that she has to tell Daniel it's his baby.
Yeah.
And Will probably won't even think to himself, hang on, how could you said you weren't having sex with Daniel, how could it be his?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, she's going to tell Daniel it's his, probably.
And then it will just be delayed, the confrontation between.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've not really given much thought as to whether I think this baby is going to be born.
I don't care about this baby.
No, if it
you can take that clip and play that anywhere.
Meghan is not going to be in the show long term, so at the end of the day, it doesn't particularly matter unless she goes to prison and leaves the baby with Will
or Daniel.
Well, yeah,
Daniel loves taking babies from women who aren't around anymore.
Yeah,
and then palming them off on his girlfriends.
Can you imagine? Yeah, Daniel being left with this baby.
Yes,
but then Will could say that it's his because Meghan would be in prison at that point, which means that it's come out what she's done. Unless it comes out what she's done with Lee, and that's how she gets sent down. She gets carted off to the big house, and then Will's there watching Daniel, knowing that he's raising his baby, and Will can't say anything. But he probably will because he can't keep his temper.
I think there's this. Oh, I don't care about this.
just whatever.
Men.
I was more interested in
Ben's got problems.
Ben's heart problems part of the story.
He's going to be sent for an echocardiogram, and they're going to make him probably wear a device for a few days to measure the rhythm of his heart. And Maggie's quite frantic, but Ben's like, okay, just stop stressing me out.
Everybody seems to have flipping heart problems on Corrie. Like you can't go like a couple of years without somebody needing a triple heart bypass, can you? You know, with Roy had his problem, Tim obviously his. Yasmin, did she have a heart attack? Gail definitely did at one point. I don't know, it is, you know, a common...
Yeah,
but
it's about as common as cancer.
It feels a little bit like, oh, are they going down this route again with somebody? Your theory, because it comes in later about, is it hereditary, was this is going to bring back the whole Finlay angle, right?
No, well, just the fact that Alan is not the father, or thought he wasn't the father of either Finlay or Ben, and we're not sure.
I thought...
We don't know.
I'm trying to remember now. I thought that the flashback made it clear that Alan was Ben's dad, but not Finlay's.
I know, but other people came out with a different opinion, so it wasn't clear.
Yeah, but if Ben does have something hereditary, and then they say, oh, maybe Alan had it, is it a case of, we need to get in touch with Finlay to let him know that he could have it?
And then they'll test him and go, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it could be.
You don't need to worry about it.
But whatever, it's that's how Finlay gets brought into the programme to discover or to, you know, he knows what his mum did. And that's why Maggie is very happy for Finlay to be halfway across the world at the moment. So, that's possibly where the story's going to go down. But equally, the story could go down if they're saying a hereditary thing. Ben's got it, Will's got it. Now Will's worried that his baby's got it.
Exciting, isn't it?
So exciting.
So Ben has been told to avoid alcohol and stress, which is very difficult for a landlord of the Rovers. So Will and Megan meet in the alley again, and she says, oh, it was just a bit of spotting. The baby's fine. And Will says, I was really scared. I'm happy that you're having this baby. And Megan says, okay, we need to keep our distance from each other. We're going to save up money and then leave together, okay? And I'm going to have to stay with Daniel so that we can keep up this pretense. So she's already doing, I think, to Will what she did to Lee.
What?
Which is pushing him away. And I think it's now because he's got it to his 16th birthday and she's not interested.
But the difference with Lee is he didn't seem to be today to be completely heartbroken by Megan and like, how could you do this to me? That to me seemed a bit like a Tim and Trisha situation where it's like, yeah, I had a crack at the coach once. We had a good time one night. Yeah. Definitely not emotional. But with Will, it's something different because he thinks that he's got the love of his life here.
I know, and I like, is Megan sort of like, this was useful and good for me at a certain point, but now it's not. And I kind of wish that he wasn't as besotted because this is making life very difficult. Yeah,
if she's, you know, done this multiple times before, she might be used to the guys just happily taking what they can get once. And then she gets something out of it as well, and that's it. And she's kind of
what a weird way of putting it.
Why?
You could have said she just wants a fling.
Yeah, just wants a fling, and Will wants more than that. And she's like, "Oh, what do I do now? This hasn't happened before."
She can't help being beautiful, I guess. So he wants to see the baby scan. So. She shows it to him later as they are swirled and wreathed in mist.
I thought that was very atmospheric.
I thought it was bizarre. It was like they were standing at a train station in World War II.
Well, they did. I think they just kept the smoke machine from when Becky had a balaclava scene earlier this year. It's like, oh, that was quite good, wasn't it? Do you want to blow a little bit more?
I know we don't. I know it's really annoying to nitpick, but it is.
No, it's fun.
It is fun to do it, but where was the smoke coming from? Like, where in this universe of Coronation Street, where's the outlet? Was George like burning up a corpse?
I was going to say they've got a little crematorium. He's got a furnace,
and he's got an illegal outlet into the alleyway, and nobody's mentioned it. Like, where is this smoke? And it was just so honestly cheesy, awful. Silly.
Is it not just like in like Victorian London where there's just like these patches of smog that's going for?
Yeah, well, that's why you don't go to
this
London.
Is industrial Manchester where there's just smoke around because of all the cars and whatever.
It was dumb. I just thought it was dumb. Put it away. You don't want the smoke machine.
It wasn't the worst directorial choice of the week though.
What was?
bluffing music.
Oh, the music.
At the end of, when was that? Was that Wednesday's episode? Yeah, Wednesday's episode. Haven't even got to that yet. Just wait.
So, when the Driscolls get back home, Maggie starts pinning the blame on Eva for giving Ben heart problems. And Ben just says, look, stop, please stop. You got to call a truce for my health.
I love his frustrated face. He could do a very, very good pulling of frustrated eyes.
He looked agonised.
Yeah, was it Wednesday or Thursday when he's just there at the breakfast table and his head is banging on the table?
This is of his own making.
I know, but still love him.
Maggie is doting on him on Wednesday morning. She's making him dippy eggs and soldiers. Oh, and we had this conversation about how Americans don't have dippy eggs and soldiers.
Did we?
Yeah, we had this before on the podcast, and we were talking about how Americans would eat. It's just basically having like a boiled egg, soft boiled egg.
Yeah.
And then you dip strips of toast into it. It's so delicious. It's like such a great breakfast. But
nice comfort breakfast.
Eva says, we can't have that. He's got cholesterol. I've made him papaya juice and here's a banana. And Ben's just like you said, banging his head on the table and then says he's going to go back to bed. They have had to change the barrel so many times this week. I don't understand what's happening.
It's nice to know that the Rovers are doing well. We've seen more customers behind the bar, and yeah, they're just. I wonder. I've got no idea because these aren't the circles that I move in. How often does a barrel actually need changing? I
don't know,
pub?
but it's
not a clue.
It feels
weekly, monthly, daily.
Like they're doing it all the time. Because Maggie's telling Lauren to do it. And calls her a useless article. Then Eva says, don't talk to your staff like that. She says it in front of the customers, but I would say ever. And Maggie's like, well, this is my pub. But then they start bickering again. And Ben's like, look, this isn't working. Sort it out. And goes upstairs.
I think they should have a scene where Maggie takes a tumble down the cellar steps. Not just because I want to see the Rovers cellar again, because it has been quite a while. I think the last time that we saw the Rovers cellar was when Henry went down the steps. Yeah. But yeah, Maggie falling down there, I think people will find quite cathartic actually at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, a bit of caught Gemma in a yawn there.
Eva tries to call a truce to put family first. And Maggie says, that's all I've ever wanted. Then they have a family dinner, and Maggie's kind of being nice to Eva for once, saying, such a delicious dinner. And Ben's very impressed.
What was it that she's having? She's like, the potatoes, they're so soft. Or is it the chicken that's so soft? I can't remember. But yeah, she's putting up, she's just a fake smile. And this is when the silly music started, wasn't it? It was in this scene. And the camera's like pulling back and seeing this harmonious family temporary truce there as this terrible, I don't even remember what the music was, but I didn't recognise it, of course, because I never do. What? Really? Was it just leading up to Lisa and Carla on the sofa?
Hey Now by London Grammar.
I've got no idea, and even if you played it now, I wouldn't recognise it. So block that scene out of my head. But I think it literally was just leading up to... Because they had this, then they had like Angry Kevin, didn't they? Sitting with his photo on the floor of number 13. And then it was Carla and Lisa on the sofa, drunk Lisa and Carla stroking her hair. And I think it was just you think... I don't know. I can't put my head round why they thought that was at all an appropriate editorial decision to make.
It's terrible, don't do it again.
Just like, Carla and Lisa are back together, all is well. I guess.
Well,
it's like, come on, it's not Christmas Day. Don't spring a musical montage on me, Coronation Street. I'm not prepared for it.
I only ever used Shazam for Coronation Street.
I didn't even know you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm having to use it more and more, which I do not like.
Yeah.
Why are you playing all this crap music? Anyway, on Thursday... Will is looking at development of fetus pictures on his phone because he obviously wasn't paying attention in sex education. Ollie steals it off of him. Well, it doesn't really see what it's on there.
I can imagine when a lot of boys get shown that in the sex education,
blah, blah,
they're like, nothing to do with me.
Yes, exactly.
I don't need to worry about that.
And that's never caused an issue before now. So, Ollie, they're fighting, and then Will grabs the phone off of him, and then he overhears Megan and Daniel talking about having a spa weekend together. So at school then, Will tells Megan that she should dump Daniel because the stress of going out with him and Will is going to be bad for the baby. This is where it starts. And she says, look, I'll ask him for some space when I get the chance. Eva's looking up heart conditions and about how they're hereditary.
Oh yeah, that's just like what we said earlier.
Daniel and Megan go to the bistro for a drink, and he can tell something's up. And he says, look, I'm really falling for you, and it seems like you don't feel the same. And it got really awkward because she's like, oh, it's really complicated.
Poor Daniel falls in love so easily. It's all that poetry reads, isn't
God.
it? I'm surprised he didn't get out his box of Keats, his tome of Keats or whatever, and just start serenading her. Like, there could have been a proposal coming there from Daniel. He's such a soppy thing.
Well, she says, look, I'm shy about saying how I feel, but I do feel the same about you. So that's about as close as it gets.
I haven't written it down here, but I think I did semi-hear it. He was talking about possibly reporting Will to Mrs. Crawshaw, wasn't he?
For inappropriate attachments or something.
Yeah. So she's
panicking and going, no need for that.
Don't do that. And because she was going to dump Daniel at this point, didn't she? But now she needs to keep him on side.
Yeah, she's got to control him. She's got to see what he's up to, not let him
because Daniel is already not very good at controlling his temper around Will. But I think sometimes...
around children in general.
Sometimes I think he holds back to try, for Megan's sake. And if he was split up from Megan, he would have no reason to.
No, I know. He's so awful with kids. He's just the worst teacher in the world. Friday. Early morning, Will gets a message. There's a big race, but she can't come. We find out why later on. Will catches Megan by the lockers at school. And she says, look, I'm not interested in Daniel, but I can't go to the race because something's come up.
I did like that shot of the lockers. As I said, Matt Hilton is back on directorial duty on Coronation Street at the moment. We all know what that means. The camera's going to be put in places where it's never been put before. I'm not talking about colonoscopy either. So, yeah, this locker scene, it was like high up above them, wasn't it? As it was kind of working its way towards them. Very nice. And you pointed out a view in the Rovers that was a bit unusual.
Yeah. You come through the bar, which I don't think I've ever done.
The camera was like positioned through the serving thing, wasn't it? And all the way through, yeah. Very nice. I enjoyed it.
So, we see this Lee, this rival from Will, back from Hull.
I didn't really get what he was doing.
They're here for the race.
But why was he at school? Was the race at school?
Well, maybe it was.
I don't know. It felt like, don't worry about why he's here. He just is. And he's one of Megan's former victims.
Yes.
To ask questions.
So he says, I've come to race. You're new at this school. How are you settling in? Anyway, I don't care about that. I've heard that Megan's got a job here. Pity she can't come to the race. And it's funny because Will's like, Miss Swalsh. And he's like, yeah, I call her Megan.
It was very, very clear quite early that there was a bit of a thing between Lee and Megan, wasn't there? The way he was talking about her
on the phone when Will goes off and makes a call, which we assume is to Megan.
Yeah.
Then we see them later, Will and Lee at the Rovers, and they've had the race, and Will didn't win, but Lee did. Megan comes in and looks shocked, and obviously she'd been avoiding Lee, and that's why she didn't go to the race. And
she didn't expect him to be there. I think he had phoned her earlier, and he goes up to her and says, "Yeah, did you get my message?" "Yes, I did," but so she didn't expect to see him there. So she's like, "Oh, blimey, this could be awkward."
She says, "Look, meet me outside in the Ginnell in 10 minutes." So then she tells him there that she's met someone new, and it's a teacher from school. He gets very jealous. And she says, what we had was special, but it's over now. And she touches his cheek and says, don't call me again. See you later. Then Will finds Lee at the bus stop later, and he is upset. And he says he had a thing with Megan, and you haven't written down that he said that he slept with her, but I do believe that she did.
Yeah.
Didn't know how Will's much I don't believe it. Megan wouldn't do that. And Sam comes out of the cafe, I think he comes out of the...
Yeah, he's at the bistro, sorry, you're right. Yeah, sorry,
shop.
Not bistro. Yeah, Prima Donna he comes out of.
And he looks like he's overheard them talking about this, but how much he's heard, we're not sure.
Yeah, we got a little reintroduction of Sam earlier on in the episode, didn't we? In that scene outside the humanities department, which is the only department that school appears to have from the outside. And Sam was there looking very, very grown up, wasn't he? And talking to Will because I suppose they're somewhat family, aren't they? If Sam is kind of semi-related to Leanne through the fact that they used to live each other.
We're not related at all.
Not related, but
he's Nick's
Leanne was
child.
her mum for a bit. His mum for a bit.
Yes.
And then now Will is the semi-half son of Eva. So that
they may have had an awkward Christmas.
Yes, or there was going to be one to come. So I think that's the only reason why Sam was talking to Will, because
they're not
they are not the type of children who would ever,
talk to each other.
give each other the time of day. So he's overheard, hasn't he? He's heard something about some kind of accusations.
Which gave him a concern.
Yeah, he got the final shot of the week, didn't he? So welcome back, Sam. We haven't seen you for about 6 months or so. Looks like he's getting embroiled in all this. Especially if if Leanne's going to be there with Megan as a flatmate, then it makes sense for Sam to be involved there in some way. But so Will must be absolutely spitting feathers at the fact.
Well, he's going to confront her surely next week, because I bet she said that, I've never fallen for a student before.
Yeah, have they had that conversation? Or did Will just literally assume that, well, of course I'm special? Maybe she didn't even need to say. Or, is it a little bit like, again, the Tim situation, harking back to when he was said, me and my mates used to think Trisha from the shop was hot and we all wish we could have a crack at her. Did Will and Lee and some of the others used to joke about it? And then, Will think that he was the only one that actually took the plunge, as it were. I don't know. So he's already mad that Daniel's in the equation. This is going to make it worse, especially with Lee being his rival in running. Because, I also had a rival in running when I was...
Imagine.
When I was younger, being the second best sprinter in my year group. True facts, everybody. Mark Creswell... Tell you what, if I found out that you and Mark Creswell, Gemma, had it off.
Torrid affair.
Well, I mean, it was only a one night stand with Lee, apparently, from what I get. But I'd be staring there in the back of the scenes, glowering quite heavily at you. That's all I can say.
Me? I've done nothing wrong. I just wanted the fastest man.
Right. Anyway, that was that story. It was the A story of the week, I guess. But I think really where the main talking point was the lease extension storyline, the grand reunion of Carla and Lisa, which I feel like we've already taken apart quite a little bit with the clickbait section. Well, there are other podcasts that will no doubt go into far more detail about all the minutiae that we missed here. But basically, Carla and Lisa are back together. Carla on Monday is still very much in the mood of, I don't even want to be around Lisa. Or, I don't know whether it was that. I suppose she has every right to be mad at her. Do you think that she was kind of turning round to say, if I stay here, I think I might fall for her again, and I know that that's not healthy?
I think she's probably like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. Carla has really just been chewing a wasp all week, hasn't she? Well, up until the reunion happened. She was very, very much in Morticia mode. But anyway, Ryan manages
That's Morticia slander, that.
Ryan manages to manhandle Carla back round to talk to Lisa. And she, who just says, well, I suppose I better move out of the house then, me and Betsy. It is your home after all. And Carla's just like, okay. But doesn't look happy about it, because I think, even at this stage, she's starting to think, how long can I have Lisa in the doghouse? And I kind of do want to get back together, but I know I shouldn't. Were you getting those vibes early on in the week?
Yeah.
It was hard because obviously the reunion was inevitable. And I think going into the week, I'd already read somewhere that they were going to get together this week. So, maybe it was less obvious if you didn't know it was going to happen. I don't know. But anyway, Betsy comes around the factory later to try and twist Carla's arm a little bit, and it's saying, is it just what you two had? It just doesn't stop. We're family. And Carla said, no, this has to stop. Too much has happened, Betsy. But Betsy, who, as we know, is very delusional and some might say immature, with a rose-tinted spectacles.
She's naive.
Yeah, a naive, that's the word I'm looking for. A naive look on life goes all fairy tale on her, and Carla's like, sorry, no, it doesn't work that way. So Tuesday, Roy gets enlisted to try and help play Cupid, thanks to Betsy, what'd she say to him? Because, I don't know whether you know this, Gemma, I mean, it's not down on our calendar, but anniversary of Hayley's death this week.
Is it?
Yeah, I know. We didn't get Roy a card, did we?
You should have brought it up.
So she's like saying, look, why don't you go and take Carla on a nice trip to Hayley's grave, eh? And while you're there, maybe persuade her that it wouldn't be so bad idea getting back together with Lisa. So Roy's got his mission. Didn't get to see it, sadly. Not a grave. We went down to the Red Wreck, didn't he? The boating lake in Heaton Park. But we didn't get to see that because they don't film there anymore. So Carla comes to the cafe and Roy says, come and sit with me and have a cup of tea. You shouldn't waste this opportunity with Lisa. You clearly both love each other. You got a house together. He gives a less naive,
more realistic,
practical reason about why.
Love doesn't come along every day. Yeah. Hayley wants you to be happy.
I wish that I could have had more time with Hayley. And I know that you'll regret it if you don't get back with Lisa. I guess that I can kind of buy that that Carla could overlook after a while the infidelity because, she's not been 100% faithful all her life, has she? I can't think of any specific examples, but she's definitely engaged in affairs or been the cheater or been the person that has been cheated with at some point. So
it's quite interesting that he's talking about Hayley, of course. Obviously, it's their 10-year anniversary, or was it 10?
No, it wasn't 10.
Just an anniversary.
It was just a normal anniversary. It was nothing.
But there was obviously this really big disruption in Hayley and Roy's relationship right before Hayley died, when Christian came back. Ugh. And it's kind of like he came back from the dead because nobody knew this person existed. And it was a bit of a shock for Roy because Hayley had always led him to believe that she had never slept with anyone before him. And then they retconned it a little bit and kind of threw her under the bus. And it really, really reminds me of what they've done with Lisa, where it feels like a bit of a retcon maybe. That even though it can't really be because they knew, I don't know, I'm not going to get into the weeds on this, but there's this, do you think, can you see what I mean when I say there's a bit of a parallel there? Like these two really strong relationships thrown into disarray with a blast from the past who's come back and kind of shown some weaknesses in their relationship.
But I will say, and sorry Swallow fans, but I'm sure you can, well maybe you can't all of you, agree to this. Hayley and Roy were a more iconic, longer lasting, stronger, etc. couple than Carla and Lisa, who were just, they barely got off the starting blocks here. I'm not saying they ain't got the potential for it.
Why are you saying this?
I just like to catch flack from people. Come at me. But I think the generally agreed belief is that Roy and Hayley, now that would be something, are one of the most iconic Coronation Street characters, relationships ever.
Yes.
And Carla and Lisa at the
There's
moment.
no need to start comparing.
There's no competition here.
People up.
You started the comparison. I'm just saying. I'm just making
what
things.
Bizarre thing to say?
Just dig in my own grave, and then I'm going to be coming out of it at some point. Betsy and Lisa are in the bistro later. Lisa is pleased to hear that she saw Carla sniffing around the house earlier. Oh yeah, I missed that bit. Carla goes to the door at number 6, doesn't she? And this is when she has that thing with Tracy, and Tracy said, "Can't believe you go back to Lisa. You're a right mug. I suppose she must have something good about her if you're considering getting back together. Then she must be really good in bed. She's not just turned you; she's turned you into a doormat." Which is quite a good line, I thought. And Carla kind of fires back a little bit, and Tracy's like, "Yeah, there's the Carla that I know and love." But Carla walks away from the door. But yeah, Lisa later hears about this, and she is quietly pleased that things seem to be working. Wednesday is when the reunion happens. Ryan gives Carla a letter from Lisa. It's a request to have lunch together later. Carla ends up spending quite a long time reading it, doesn't she?
It's a very long letter.
Yes, very deep feelings there.
One of the clickbaits that we had through was a speculation from fans online that Vicky Myers had penned this with her own fair hand.
What? No, that's not how it works. Sorry, that is not how it works. Anyway,
I don't know.
Carla says, "I'm not telling you what's in it. It's private. But then she does. She says, look, she wants to meet me later. I'm sure there was more than that she kept to herself, though. So Lisa's got this big old bunch of flowers for Carla in the cafe. She's feeling really hopeful. Meanwhile, though, Carla's sitting down in Chariot Square with TV Burps Stars of Tomorrow Today.
Yeah.
What were they called?
They were like a good-natured version of those two Muppets that laugh at people.
Yeah, I thought that was a great comparison. I saw somebody posting that online later. It was a Statler and Waldorf, wasn't it? It was, two older, balding, jovial,
They're like the
Chuckle Brothers-ish sort of men. It's like, oh, we don't have our phones at the table, do it? No, that's one of our rules. I quite like them. I think a
lot of people found them quite endearing.
It was the sort of thing that doesn't exist on Coronation Street, though. You know, one episode characters with a personality.
They do all the time.
Do they?
Remember Man 2?
Oh yeah, Man 2, of course. And also, we quite liked what was her name? Thingy's friend. Do you know George was going to have a date with whose friend was it?
Are you talking about the woman
Glenda's
who was
friend.
No.
She was good.
There was a lady that was famous who came on the show to promote her book.
Helen Lederer.
Yeah.
No, I did think about her, but that's not who I was talking about. But anyway, yeah, do you sometimes as a Corrie writer say, I'm gonna give these a right. I'm gonna make a right pair.
How this works? How does this work? Because presumably did they? The storyline would have gone right. You've got to write a scene in here because we've decided that for some reason out of nowhere, the reason that Carla can't have lunch with her is because there's two guys that she's having lunch with, and now I've written that we're gonna have to cast them. Like, how does that decision get made?
When they were,
who's deciding
I was thinking,
this?
and I didn't look up this at all. Like, are these famous?
No.
They had we're guest stars vibes, didn't they? About them.
That Irish comedian who was selling engagement rings for Eva that time.
Oh yes. I can't remember what it was called.
No, I don't remember. But he was, everyone was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he's here."
Yeah,
because we saw him filming, didn't we?
Yeah. But anyway, they were a lot of fun. But yeah, this is Carla's basically playing hard to get by keeping this meeting going, isn't she?
Well,
when she knows that she should be there with Lisa at the bistro.
She was gonna text Lisa and say, "Can't do lunch because I've got."
Oh, I suppose that was the thing.
Stadler and Chuckle.
Yeah, no, I suppose that was the thing about why they said you can't have your phone in. You got to put it in your bag, haven't you?
No.
But anyway, she's got to woo these clients, so she's going to dance to their tune.
Yeah. So Lisa.
Lisa's at the bistro. Yeah, she's there with Toya having a bit of wine. Well, Toya's pouring the wine, and she can't get hold of Carla because Carla's got a phone in her bag, and so Lisa thinks that she's being stood up. But then Carla gets called over by Ryan at the hotel, and he's like, "What on earth are you doing here? Lisa's waiting for you." And Carla says, "Well, she can wait if I'm that important to her. Work comes first. Knickers can't let you down like people." There we go. Gemma's looking on ITV app as we speak to see who these fine actors were that played these two characters.
Oh,
so
I hate the way this works.
Only skip forward in 10 seconds, Gemma. You just got to be patient. So
it depends on what you think their name is.
I've got no idea what the names were.
Because there's Reg, Christopher Beck, and Marty, Neil Rowland.
Reg and Marty. Classics. Bring them back. So, anyway, Lisa then turns up at the bistro, doesn't she? She's had, 2 bottles of wine, is it, you said?
Oh my God, she'd already started drinking one and then she orders another one, and I don't know, I feel like that's how you end up dead.
Anyway, she's there, she's sloshed, she's hiccuping wildly, she says, "Well, you couldn't even be bothered to write to me to tell me that you're not coming. Do you know how hard it was for me to do that letter for you?" And Carla says, "Go home, we'll speak later." And Lisa's like, "No, I came here for a reason." She hiccups her way through telling Carla that she's her everything, her soulmate. The world disappears when I'm out you. When I'm with you, sorry. And then she throws up over the floor. And that's kind of the end of that. But that's enough for Carla. You weren't a fan of the sick, were you?
What do you mean? What did I say?
Well, you said it on the short that you thought that it kind of undermined the importance of the scene to have her acting that way throughout it.
It's really difficult. It felt like they made a comedic. It felt like a comedic side adventure, where really this would be a fun thing if they had broken up because they got in a fight about kebabs. But
one of them had called the other one a Karen.
Yeah, but they have been through an incredible amount, and then it was like a funny joke that she throws up, and that is somehow what makes Carla feel like she suffered enough.
It's like,
but really, how can you compare throwing up with being locked in a storage container?
Yeah, it does kind of just lend into what we were saying earlier about they wanted to rush it. They didn't want to have the big long dialogue. They didn't want to make a big character scene of it. They'd rather just have her be drunk, say a few things, and then bomb all over the floor.
How can we quickly make this happen fast in a way that sidesteps all of the big emotional stuff without it seeming like a cop-out? But I don't think they managed it because, again, like I said earlier, the apology was in a letter that we never read. And then Carla, she can see how much emotional turmoil Lisa is in because she's got herself in such a bad state through drinking, worked herself up and made a spectacle of herself. It's almost as if they want us to think that that's enough to win. I'm sorry, I don't really know what I think that's more than what I've already said.
They just wanted to have a nice scene where they're sitting on the sofa and Carla's stroking Lisa's hair, and it was just being soppy and dark and all that sappy music was playing over it. So, I don't know, if that's what you like, then you're eating well on Wednesday night. Thursday, Factory Lot noticed that Carla's in a particularly good mood as she opens up the underworld doors. Lisa, meanwhile, though, has got this mega hangover after last night's double bottle of wine, and so Carla's brought her in some bacon and balms for a hangover special. Sounds good. So she tells Lisa about everything that happened last night, right in the middle of my very important meeting. And Lisa calling one of those guys Baldy was quite funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right in front of him. And then she also says, "Oh, Lisa, you told me that you love me and that you die for me." Because, on the Wednesday night, they did get I love you too out of each other before Lisa completely passed out.
Is that in the morning?
No, Wednesday night, and then on this is when after the drunk scene, and then this is what Carla's bringing up the next day, and Carla says, "Well, maybe I told you I loved you, and maybe you told me you loved me," and it's all starting to look a bit sweet again, and then Lisa goes off to sick up again because that's funny, I suppose. I think a lot of the rest of the week is just kind of a bit more chill between them. Everything is completely back to normal and as it was. Let's just forget this whole last 4 months never happened. Lisa's hoovering, they're having a kiss, they're kind of having a bit of a fondle of each other, they're hugging, they go upstairs to bed, then they go to the pub and everyone celebrates there.
Have you ever been this invested in somebody you know's relationship that you didn't have to go, where you weren't at their wedding? That's the only time I feel obliged to celebrate somebody's relationship, when I'm at the wedding. Otherwise, I don't really care.
I think if I knew somebody that seemed to have a good relationship with somebody and then they split up and then they got back together, I'd be happy for them. But whether or not I'd be cheering them on in the pub or anything, or saying, "Get in there."
It reminds me of that bit that I always get mad about, that everyone loves, when you had, who is it? Oh God.
Give me some clues.
Jack and Vera.
Yeah.
When they had the dating thing, and he showed up pretending to be Vince Sinclair.
Yeah.
And she like went, "Oh, pleasure to meet you, Vince," and then she beat the crap out of him, and then they ran out to everybody in the pub cheering and laughing. It's like, why are you invested in this? I get that I am, because I know I'm watching a fictional television programme and I've followed the entire plot so far. But why are you cheering and laughing?
Well, they're the local characters, aren't they?
Like you're watching a pantomime.
I think that the many people Jack and Vera's...
If you were having a drink in the pub and then suddenly a woman started beating this man and they both ran out, would your first reaction be like, "Hooray!"
Yeah, it's just like, when you drop a glass, people cheer.
I knew you would say that.
No, I think that Jack and Vera were the local people that everybody enjoyed laughing at.
They know what was happening. Oh, I've inferred from this conversation they've just had that she, like, what? Okay.
Look, we ain't got time to flash back to 1983 here.
I don't care if my boss is back with a girlfriend or not.
Well,
I'm just gonna say that.
Well, the underworld lot love it, so there we go.
Stop being invested in other people's lives, you nosy bunch.
Friday was quite fun because this was a little side story that didn't really have any long-term... It wasn't part of a big plot. It was literally just the adventure of Sally coming round to their house and getting in the way of them having a lovely day together, wasn't it? It was like, do you remember the episode when? And we've been wanting Sally to go around number 6 ever since they moved in there last summer. I think I was maybe hoping for a little bit more.
That this had so much potential.
Commenting on the decor. I mean, she plumps up their pillows at one point. But
there is a funny line when she said something about Carla.
Oh, yeah. She says something about Carla to Lisa, doesn't she? And Lisa has a bit of a funny laugh about it. No, I don't think I wrote it down. But yeah, I think that I was hoping for more Sally snobbery.
Hopefully we'll have another scene with... just want them to have a dinner party.
Yeah, literally, that's all I want. Where they all they can do is chat. Because as it was more the fact that Sally was just there and Carla wanted to get rid of her that made the scene kind of funny. But yeah, Hyacinth Bouquet Sally didn't come out as much as I thought it would.
No,
or like, Mrs. Connor, thank you. She wasn't like toadying particularly, was she? Like, oh, thank you so much for letting me around your beautiful home, Mrs. Connor. We didn't have any of that.
No.
But she was just involved.
She did get a bit drunk and start asking them what they were going to wear to their wedding.
Yeah, I suppose, but I don't know. Basically, Sally and Tim...
She was talking about this as though she didn't have a daughter who was literally at
Yes! That's what I was thinking. Like, she was saying, how does that work then? How do lesbian weddings work? Do you both wear dresses?
Who was at one?
Yeah. They both wore dresses, didn't they? I think Shona and Sophie.
Yeah. I think Sally was voicing the question on everyone's lips. What are they going to wear? Everyone wants to know what they're going to wear.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be so many takes on whatever it is they decide to dress Carla and Lisa in.
Oh, I bet they're going to have like Betsy do a mood board. I can totally see Betsy dressing her mum for her wedding, can't you?
Well,
in a very inappropriate...
I really want Lisa to wear her dress uniform because I think that would be cool.
But she had it for the proposal, didn't she? So we've already seen it once. But yes, I agree.
Do they have a special version? Is there a different one? Maybe she can wear like epaulettes or whatever. I don't know. Maybe she could bet. Can women wear the helmet?
I guess so.
Maybe she could wear it like...
wear what you want. It's the 21st century.
Maybe she could wear a Beefeater outfit with a big bearskin hat.
I don't know, but I'm sure it won't be long before we find out.
I wonder if they're going to... Sometimes they like to do a fake out where there's a scene where they try a dress on and so we get to see them wear different ones, or they have more than one wedding because something goes wrong and then they wear something different for the second one, or... remember at that time with Abby and Sally and everyone in the...
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Bistro.
Abby not being able to wear a normal wedding dress because it just being totally not like her, and she was there with the big Doc Martens, wasn't she?
Yeah.
The question with Lisa and Carla's dresses, I want to know is, would they dare lend them to the Coronation Street experience to put in their wedding dress show? Because I think if it's going up there, that needs to be behind glass.
Why? What are you saying?
Well, I'm not saying that, just the
People are
boil's
gonna
going to
be-
come and pour orange paint over it, but I think
No,
people
people are going to want to touch it.
I think people will want to get their hands over that and maybe give it a bit of a smell.
Why? Stop now. Just stop.
But I think. Oh, speaking of which, Debbie, have you seen? Did I show you this? Debbie Webster's wedding dress
Yes.
is now on display at the Coronation Street Experience. So, I think that they probably would put it there. So, book your tickets now.
It'll be centre stage. It'll be the key attraction. There'll be pilgrimages
out the way. Daisy's acid stained dress, and
but just remember, everybody, no matter how good of a Koala fan you think you are, you've not gone to France to see Lisa's Dream Cottage.
Exactly.
I've not seen anyone else do that.
No.
And it isn't that hard to get to France on a ferry.
So I think that makes us the number one Koala fans, which is
we
why we
can
can just get away with saying whatever we want
like.
about them, because we've been to their Dream Cottage.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically Sally and Tim have had a row, which is what Lisa's listening to through her terrible glass technique, and then Sally comes round later and sort of invites herself to stay a little bit, doesn't she? Lisa, Lisa is a bit more encouraging of it, because it was Carla's the one that was saying, we should have a lovely day together, and I don't know whether did Lisa just not get the hint or something, or was she just teasing, or was she just accommodating a kind of semi-funny scene with Sally? I don't know. I enjoyed it anyway. Sally's just talking about how she thinks that she's worried that she and Tim have lost their spark, and I don't know whether this is a little premonition for a future Sally and Tim breakup, particularly with the Trisha thing coming up. So I don't know. Watch this space there.
Well, because he went off and ate a sausage sandwich, and then she found out that he had done it, and then they obviously had a fight about it, and he called her a Karen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny.
I would never go out and eat a sausage sandwich without you.
Well, I'm sure lots of people enjoy calling me a Karen as well. I just think it's sexist.
Anyway, Carla hurriedly phones up Tim to try and come and extract Sally with flowers, which he does later, and they kind of hurry her out. And that's why the scene was just a bit over and done with before they really had time to...
Another example of Tim being a really terrible husband.
Oh, I knew you'd get it.
And everyone playing it off like it's a funny joke.
He's not a terrible husband. He just had a sausage sandwich and called her a Karen. I would never call you a Karen, darling.
You can call me a Karen if you want. You just, there will be consequences.
The neighbours will hear,
no,
and we're not even detached.
If you decide, if I said to you, "Oh, you've had a heart attack. I'm really worried about your health," and you went, "Shut up, you Karen. I'm going to eat a sausage sandwich if I want."
Yes,
I would find it really upsetting.
Tim does have good reason to try and eat healthily, doesn't he? Anyway, Carla and Lisa basically have a snuggle on the sofa at the end.
It's also another example of Sally being everyone's so mean to her all the time, and she's just a joke. But all she does is want to do good things
and have her husband be alive.
And it's okay to make fun of her all the time.
Oh, she's we're allowed to make fun of Sally a little bit. It's fine. I was a bit grossed out by Betsy having to have noise-cancelling headphones.
I don't think I've ever wanted to say that to anybody ever.
And to your mum.
Yeah, I would, if I could hear somebody in a house with me doing that, I'd find it actually quite traumatic and strange.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have.
I think it's a bit disrespectful.
I think it is as well.
And I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about this specific example. I'm saying I would find that very odd if I was in someone's house and they were but they live together. It's obviously supposed to be funny. We're reading a lot into it. It just seems very strange, and it's not to do with the fact they're two women. Before anyone gets into it, it's the fact that it's her mum.
Yeah, I think that, most parents would kind of turn the volume down a little bit if they thought that their kid was listening.
Most teenage girls wouldn't be good for you, mum and dad.
No.
Or dad and dad, or mum and mum. They wouldn't be I'm so glad you've got a healthy sex life. They'd be ew.
They would. They've just got a really odd relationship sometimes, haven't they? Sometimes she's a baby to them. Sometimes she's a bit of a friend.
Yeah.
She needs to cut the apron strings a little bit now they're back together and find her own nest.
You're going to get yourself in trouble.
Why?
You just are.
I'm allowed to say that Betsy needs to, spread her wings now she's 18 at last.
I just thought that the scene in The Rovers with the three of them all together sitting at the bar, it was very, very sweet.
I know, I really enjoyed that scene.
And I like how much Carla dotes on Betsy and sees her as a daughter, etc.
Etc. Gemma, Shoujo now. We got Shona and Jodie, whose knees also made a cameo appearance in Emmerdale this week, didn't they? And her shoes, yes. So, I don't think we're giving any spoilers away for Emmerdale, but we did actually watch Thursday's trip to the Dales, didn't we? Because we'd heard that they were going to reveal who killed Ray, and we were very invested in this mystery. Well, not very invested. My curiosity was piqued when in Corriedale there was a dead body that J. Raj / Vikram was transporting. He didn't put it there himself. No, apparently not. So yeah, we won't say who it is, but it was quite a good reveal, wasn't it? About who killed Ray.
Well, we really watched it because we knew that Jodie made an appearance in it, and I thought, surely there can't be anything too revealing about her relationship with this guy and what's happened to her before now, but we better watch it just in case. Yeah, and it wasn't.
It was a literal
just reconfirmed that she was being transported by Graham.
Yeah, it was a flashback to the day of the Corriedale crash, and we see him getting into the van and saying, "Right, Jodie, let's go." Not in a we're mates way, but I am about to transport you, my prisoner, sort of way. Like you might
say to the KFC you're driving home. Right, come on, chickens.
Yeah, exactly that. So, Gemma, Shona, Jodie, what have they been getting up to this week?
So, on Monday, Shona's not sleeping very well. She says she's fine. And then David goes off by himself somewhere, so the sisters are left alone. And we see more about Jodie. She clearly idolised Shona when she was growing up, and she copied the tattoo. I had kind of thought, oh, it's a cute thing they got together.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
So I think it's
kind of leaning into a bit of the
obsessively weird.
Yes, Jodie wants to be Shona, and there she and she is going to take over her life, kind of level of weirdness. I wouldn't
say this if I didn't know everything else about this character that we've seen so far. Like, she is weird. Yeah, she's clearly a bit unhinged. So this copying the tattoo isn't some kind of sweet tribute. It's something weirder than that.
But she's not dumb. She's not like a kind of a sheep and blinded by Shona's brilliance.
Yeah, why has she got this tattoo? Has she pretended to be Shona at some point? Because it's in a different place. She's got hers on her arm.
I think that she literally just idolised Shona and was a bit impressed with the fact that she could stand up for herself a little bit more against this horrible dad.
There's nothing wrong with idolising your sister when you're growing up, obviously. It's just that Jodie's not...
Jodie comes across to me as a very fierce, independent, doesn't need to idolise anyone kind of person at the moment.
Well, as a child she might have been different.
I suppose so. Well, I hope she didn't get the tattoo as a child because...
illegal.
Exactly.
Maybe Megan gave it to her. But their dad didn't want her growing up like Shona, she says, and Jodie's clearly still resentful about the fact that Shona never came back for her, and she was waiting for her instead. And she said she sent Shona a letter, and Shona says, "Oh, I never got it." And she say something like, "Oh, I wrote the address on it perfect." Like, she's...
Did she?
Well, she said something like, I know I sent it. But then she says, "Look, you didn't even try very hard to find me, as it. You got well rid and you were happy." And Shona says, "Well, that's not true." But Jodie's convinced that Shona never cared about her.
Yeah, Shona's saying that she came back to the house when she felt ready, but the family had moved by that point. So I think Shona managed to swerve being made to look like a bit of a cow during this, because abandoning your sister when you've clearly got a bit of a dodgy dad and just going and living your own life and never mentioning them again, that does feel a bit off.
I know, but it doesn't feel like there was any kind of really unsavoury, abuse there that you might say,
no.
How could you leave him? How could you leave her with him when you knew that was happening? He's obviously just super controlling, and we don't know really any more than that, do we?
I don't think so.
I mean, there's, your perspective of a controlling parent as a child might turn out to be a bit different from someone else's perspective on it from the outside. If maybe, you know, your dad's like locking you in the house because he doesn't want you to go out and take drugs. I don't know what the situation is. I'm just saying that, like, it's not necessarily abusive to stop your kid from going out the house.
No, but I think we're
I think
left...
we're supposed to think that he wasn't a great dad, but we don't know.
We don't know quite the extent of it yet.
We don't know exactly what happened. And like, the more it turns out that he was even physically abusive, the more it becomes a bad reflection on Shona for not coming to rescue her. So at the moment, I'm wondering if it was what actually did happen. Like, how it's got to be bad for Shona to want to leave, but it can't be so bad that it makes her look terrible for letting Jodie stay there.
Yeah.
But then she had her own problems, and she wasn't a good person when she was younger anyway. It's not like I can imagine younger Shona going on a crusade.
I think
and
Shona's
also when you're a kid, what can you do?
To me, Shona's the sort of character that I totally buy that she probably did have a very dark past and a bit of a dodgy background and a rough upbringing, but I kind of don't want to know about it.
It's kind of like Carla. We know that she had a really bad childhood. And sometimes they talk about it a bit, but it feels too sad to...
Yeah, and Shona's one of those characters that I kind of rely on for a bit of light relief, and I think that Julia Goulding is absolutely fab, and she can very much do the tragic acting and all that's required when they want to get on the front of the TV guide. Yeah. But
it's a bit like when they were like, "How can we make Mary deep?" Let's say she was raped by a priest.
It's exactly that. You're right.
Let's take this comedic character that everyone finds adorable.
Well, and also like with Glenda when she had that row with George the other year.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't work. But I think the difference with Shona is she has had some more dramatic stories in the past, whereas Mary and whatever
that came out of nowhere.
Anyway. But I don't like the idea of revisiting Shona's icky, grubby past.
Sorry, but you're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. So Jodie tells Shona their dad put a lock on her bedroom to stop her from going out and becoming Shona Mark II, getting really upset, and then she smashes David's mug in the sink and cuts her hand. And so Shona tends to her wounds, and Jodie tells her that she used to sit at home waiting for Shona to come, and she never did, so she gave up eventually. And Shona's like, I promise you, I did not know how bad it was. I'm so sorry I didn't take you with me. And Jodie says, I apologise, I forgive you.
They're having a bit of a tender moment there for a little while, aren't they? And then
I'm getting really confused about what I've said and what I haven't said, because I think in the short I said something like, or maybe I just said to you, like, this felt like it should have happened last week when they first... Because Shona was like...
Yeah, they've got a lot of history and they're
like
taking
really,
a week to get there.
I don't feel like it was joined up how this shook out. Because, let me explain. Because Shona was super off with her when she came along. Then she was kind of like, oh no, I was just upset because I was mean to you. So I'm fine that you're in my house. And then we had this big emotional confrontation where it all came out. And I guess maybe that feels realistic because sometimes people brush things under the carpet. But equally, as far as a fictional story goes, it did feel a bit like 1 minute Shona's mad at her and because she's guilty, and the next minute she's not, and then the next minute she is again.
Yeah.
With no trigger at all. Go on, you kept saying...
No, I think I was just saying, kind of, Shona did say... I can't deal with this now. I haven't got the headspace for it now, and I suppose it's
I know
that was what she didn't want to deal with, and she was kind of trying to avoid talking about it. Yeah, but then it just had to come out.
It felt like they put that scene as a cliffhanger, without really considering how it made the story flow in a really odd way.
Which scene?
When Shona was like, "Oh God, not you."
Oh, okay, yeah. Leave me a number. I'll get back to you when I can. Maybe. I don't know.
I just don't buy it. I think it was clumsily put together. You know, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think I feel it quite so much as you.
Well,
I've just got very mixed feelings of this storyline because, like, I love Shona and David. I wasn't initially like, wowed and blown over by Jodie. And I was like, oh, we don't need another family member just coming out of the woodwork. It feels like sometimes they do that on Coronation Street when they don't know what to do and they say, oh, here's a long lost family member that you've never mentioned before. Let's throw them into the mix. But then sometimes obviously that works well, like with David. And then you had, like, the end of Thursday's episode, the scene where she's pretending to be the woman from the domestic abuse meeting. And I was like, well, she's bloody brilliant. What a fantastic actress she is. More, please. And I was, like, really intrigued to find out what happened with her. And then I just kind of lost all interest for the storyline on Friday when Carl comes along. It's like, oh, is Carl going to get involved with Jodie? Oh, I don't want to watch that. So I was all over the place this week. It was a bit of a roller coaster.
Shona's explaining to David about being worried about Jodie, and he finds this mug, and he moans because it's his best hairdresser in the world mug.
What's happened to me mug?
And she points out he bought it for himself, so he needs to buy another one. She says, look, Jodie got really stressed earlier. I feel really guilty because her life was messed up. I've got to look after her and help her sort her life out. And Jodie's listening to this while she sits on the stairs.
Classic.
On Tuesday...
She's watched Coronation Street before, hasn't she? While she's been in Emmerdale, she's been watching Coronation Street and knows that if you just sit on the top of those stairs, you can
wear anything.
Perfect way of showing you're having a moment.
On Tuesday, Jodie's ingratiating herself with the family by helping Lily with her art project.
Why she needed help with her art project, I don't really know.
Well, it turned out that Jodie was just sitting opposite her painting her nails.
Yeah.
So while they're doing that, Jodie takes the opportunity to drip a bit of poison in Lily's ear about the fact that now Shona's got a baby that's her blood and flesh.
Yeah,
she's gonna not care about Lily as much.
Yeah, Lily's getting the classic, oh, I've got jealous. A new baby, yeah. I'm jealous of them, which is probably a little bit cliche at this point.
Well, no, it's very understandable.
It is,
and
but
universal thing.
I did think it did, and I know she's young and immature, but I did think that Lily came out of it looking not that great because this poor kid that's been born very, very prematurely, he's got a massive lump on its neck, almost as big as its head, and he's like, oh, people, they're paying attention to the baby.
But she thought she was in a safe space to talk to somebody who cared about her and was gonna, be a family like Lily. Lily's young enough to not really see anyone having bad intentions, like obviously Jodie's got. Yeah. It's really sad that she's caught completely off guard and now she believes 100% that she's going to be second.
Yeah, this is really nasty of Jodie, wasn't
Jodie's a horrible cow to do this. I don't know why she's... I mean, obviously, the theory now we all have is surely that Jodie is set to destroy Shona's life because she feels mad at her for leaving her all that time ago, and so she's setting out to undermine her in any way possible, which includes alienating her family and so on and so forth. So on Wednesday, Shona finds Jodie having a nightmare on the sofa.
She says that she was just remembering a horror film that she watched last night. But she's obviously
acting. Like, we find later that this is all part of her ruse.
I thought that she was actually having a nightmare about being tied up in a van by Graham.
I think it's all part of her... Look, I'm sorry here, but I'm going to say that probably...
I'm so I say, everyone knows I'm really gullible.
I'm going to say that maybe Graham's tied Jodie up because she deserved it.
Yeah, is that why she was gagged? Like...
Well,
stop being horrible. Stop saying mean things.
It would be a really interesting twist if it turned out that he wasn't actually the bad actor in that situation and he had to tie her up because she was doing something dreadful.
It could have been, actually. Because
he's like, right, I'm going to take you in a van, like you do when you catch a mouse in your house. You're like, right, I'm going to take you in a van and drive you to the countryside and dump you out so you can't find your way back.
Well, I remember on the Corriedale, you do have that scene with Graham in the hospital and he's on the phone to someone, isn't he, saying, cancel the operation, abort it, I'm out. So he's clearly up to no good in some way. And I don't know what Emmerdale has particularly done about Graham or said about him or developed since then. I don't think it's been too much. No, I think this week they explained how he was able to be killed but not actually be dead.
I'd love to know more.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to watching that episode because I think that was probably the biggest stretch ever. At least with Becky, we didn't see her die.
No, I know, but it would. This is the funny thing about the two soaps. Is that the Emmerdale took the time to explain and Corrie didn't bother.
Yes.
I think
Emmerdale had to, though, because we literally saw Graham dead in Emmerdale.
I know, but I don't think many people would have objected to an episode that explained what the hell happened with Becky, and just having. That's what I want. That's all I wanted was a Carla and Lisa episode where they talked about what happened and
flashback
or anything that kind of like tied up some of the loose ends. And I said all along they would never bother doing it, and nobody believed me.
It's still too early days to say that they definitely won't.
They're not going to revisit it. If they revisit it, it's going to be really weird.
I suppose the fact that they tied up the will they, won't they get back together very neatly and quickly in the space of about an episode does mean they're ready to put this little saga to bed now.
Stop talking about it. We've moved on. We're doing previews for Easter now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think she's faking this nightmare, but she tells Shona that she was having she watched a horror movie and that's why she was having a nightmare about it. And she and Shona go to the cafe. Yeah. Or is it just well,
Jodie gets in there first, doesn't she?
And she sees Kit and he recognises her after the crash.
I'd forgotten that was a thing. Like, Jodie's been there for a week now, and I hadn't been thinking, what's going to happen when Kit sees her? But yeah, he caught her in the forest, didn't he?
Shona comes in and introduces them properly and says, "This is and like this is my sister. This is Sarah's boyfriend, Kit." And Jodie kind of escapes off, and Shona comes home and finds Jodie there, saying, I got a panic because I all these people and bleh." And Shona says, "Oh, have you met Kit before? Because it looked like you recognised him." And Jodie's like, "No, I haven't."
I even once we knew that Jodie was related to Shona, I hadn't even made the connection that that's kind of like family with him being Sarah's squeeze. Did you?
No, I didn't really even think about it until you just said
that.
But
Jodie's saying to Kit, "Oh look, don't tell anybody that you know me," and you were very affronted by Kit's lackadaisical policing there, weren't you?
He's like, if you say not to worry about it, then I won't.
To be honest, I don't need the paperwork at the moment.
But she was on the scene of a crime that's being prosecuted in the courts now. There were multiple things happening. I don't know what's going on in Emmerdale, but I guess they're brushing some things into the carpet as well. But there was a multiple vehicle pile-up and a criminal on the run with a shotgun that caused an accident. Yeah. And she was on the scene running through the woods, and she's got ligature marks on her wrists. And Kit's like, "Well, she's not telling me that it's none of my business." That's not how the police work. Number one, he needs to take a witness statement to see if she can shed any light on what happened with the crash and did she see Debbie behind the wheel of the car? Because it's very possible that she did.
Yeah, that's true, actually. She could have seen Carl and Debbie swapping places.
And I also don't know whether it's legal to kidnap somebody as long as they're fine with it. Because if she was, she was tied up in the back of a car.
In the van, yeah.
Whatever. And she clearly had marks on her wrists and it was obvious what happened. And he's like, "Well, it's a bit rude to ask questions, isn't it?"
Well, I hope he gets his wrist slapped when it turns out that he missed the opportunity.
It just felt like a really weird thing for them to just not address at all. Like, Kit's like, "Nah, I'm a cool cop. I don't ask too many questions."
More than my job's worth, mate. Don't do unpaid overtime.
So Thursday, Shona tells Jodie that she needs to talk to somebody about her worries, and she points out that David's had a traumatic experience a few years ago, and he had a group of, he had a therapy group online, and maybe she should find one. And I wonder whether this information is going to be something that Jodie later uses against them, because
Shona didn't say what the traumatic experience was, does she? Because she was respecting David and not
privacy.
Didn't want to say that, what happened with him and Josh. But yeah, you're right. We need to start looking for more clues for things that Jodie can take advantage of when she eventually does.
You say we, but I've been doing it all along.
Have you?
You are too nice. You don't see what I see.
I had, but I hadn't noticed the clues.
Right, so Shona sees Kit and she's like, "Hey, how do you know Jodie?" And he says, "I don't really know her." She doesn't believe it and keeps asking him, like, "Why were you acting so weird?" And he tells her, what happened on the night of the crash. Like, she was tied up, then she was running from somebody. I don't know who, and to be honest with you, it's none of my business as a police officer. So then Shona starts reacting in a really emotional way, screaming at him that he needs to find out who it was that has done this. And Jodie overhears them having this conversation. And this was weird as well, again, because Shona saw that mark on her wrists and thought, oh, it's just normal. It's just normal domestic abuse where somebody ties you up. And now she's told about it a second time, that it was in a car that she was tied up. Now she's suddenly got the problem.
Maybe Shona will go to the station next week and say,
what the hell are you doing about the fact that my sister was in the back of a van?
Yeah.
Being taken across state lines. So Jodie then goes to the community centre for the domestic violence support group,
which just so happened to be running that day.
Yeah, and it was really creepy because she's listening to this woman called Ellie speaking, and it looks as though she's there for genuine reasons. Jodie's turned up to take her sister's advice and work through her trauma.
Yeah, fooled me.
Actually, she's not there for that reason.
I think, again, and that was another really, the woman who played Ellie, I thought that she did a really good job. It was this was a Debbie Oates script, I think, wasn't it? Thursdays. Very good. And it's very emotionally written and portrayed.
So,
but after the domestic abuse scene happened, I was thinking to myself, well, is that it? When are we going to get to see Jodie say something, or what was the point of that? So it was very clever how at the end of the episode it then comes back and goes, aha, this is why we didn't show the rest of it.
David and Shona go to see Harper in the hospital, and Shona tells him what Kit said, and then she gets a call from Bethany because Jodie's locked herself out of the house and has lost it. Did she ever have it? Who knows?
Yeah, she was just having a bit of a...
She's having a cry. And so Shona comes back home and...
lets her in.
And Jodie says, look, I felt a bit, so I had this meeting. It's made it harder. And
what was that in aid of? Like, because when we first watched it, I was thinking, oh, she's just upset because of how intense the meeting was. But if she went there, as a ruse, what was the point of... What was she trying to achieve by locking herself out? Or did she genuinely just lock herself out?
No, she didn't. No. It's all part of this... I'm a victim and it's affecting me more than I realise. That's why she pretended to have a nightmare. She's pretended... She's...
Maybe she just asked to be tied up in the back of the van because she's got a bit of a victim complex.
Maybe.
Because she definitely seems to be a wrong 'un, but... she was being transported in the back of a van, so
she's annoying.
She's a victim of something somewhere.
There's loads of people
some kind of
that I would want to put in the back of a van with a gag on. I'm sure plenty of people would want to put me in the back of a van.
I'm very curious about what was going on.
I would love it. I would love it if it turned out that she totally deserved it, and by the end of it, we'll all be like, "Yeah, Graham, tie her up again, drive her into the sea." Right. So she starts opening up about this fella and...
Well, is it a fella or is it the dad? I think it was the dad, and you said no, it's a fella, but...
No, because, she said, I'd leave him, and I said I wouldn't leave him, and that's a weird turn of phrase to use to your dad.
Yeah, the phrasing used made it sound like it was a bloke, because she talks about...
Well, a dad is a bloke normally.
Not
always.
You know what I mean.
Her bloke.
Yeah.
Her fella.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So she opens up and says, I had my bag packed in the airing cupboard. I was ready to leave. I was pregnant. He threw me out. I had a miscarriage. And again, if that's your dad, that's obviously, you would hope, not his child. But that gets even darker if that's what she's insinuating.
Yeah, I think it was because what we then flashed to was a woman talking about her husband.
Yes.
But...
So this confession continues, and it's just verbatim the Ellie in the domestic support group telling everybody her experience that Jodie has just completely copied. But Shona completely believes this, because why wouldn't you? And sort of says, thank you for trusting me with this.
Yeah, but wasn't that a great scene?
Yeah, it
like,
was.
She starts opening up, and this was I can't remember the actress's name at the moment that plays Jodie. I was like, oh, this poor girl. What a brilliant performance this is. And then it just fades to the meeting, and I was like, oh, they're doing something silly here. What are they doing? And you said, oh, she's copying her. I was like, oh, she is, isn't she? You twigged just a little bit before I did. I loved it.
You just imagine if she's sitting there, like, listening to domestic abuse, this poor people pouring their heart out, and maybe the first person starts and they're talking about maybe they're in a same-sex relationship, and Jodie's like, can I stop you for a minute here? Is there anyone here who's got anything that I could hear about a man? Like their husband, maybe? Anyone who's got like a really bad story? Because that one's not. That one's about your dead wife came back, and that's not realistic. I can't use that story. I need something else.
Yeah, so I've got no imagination for myself. I need to be told what to say here.
And maybe she's like, hey, Ellie, what if you had a go bag in your closet? Had you thought of that? Could you tell me the story again, but imagining the go bag?
Do you have a sister, Ellie?
Yeah.
Do you have a tattoo?
What if your sister had a baby in hospital?
What would you say then? I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, this is just, I'm writing down something. I'm writing down some meal plans. This is me copying you.
No, I thought that was a really clever technique, and I'm sure not everybody enjoyed it because it was a flashbacky kind of thing.
Well, it had like, the crossfades and cut to this and that.
But I very much enjoyed it, actually. So,
I thought it was great. She's so evil. I like her. But I would like her to be more... I want her to be a proper evil female villain. We still haven't had... Maya's the best we've had so far.
Yeah,
but
Jodie's not in any way campy, is she? Like Maya
No,
was.
that's true. I do want her to be a bit camp. But if we could have a murderess, please, that'd be great.
She's not.
Maybe she's been tied up in the back of a van because she was murdering people, and Graham's like, that's enough of that.
Stop it now.
You keep murdering people, I'm going to have to tie you up in a van. And she went, I don't care. Do what you want.
Didn't murder Ray. I've tried to, but somebody else got there first.
Oh dear. Tried to murder Cedia, already dead. Etc, etc. We won't say any more. Don't want to spoil anything. On Friday...
Maybe she idolises John Sugden.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe she's read that Pat Phelan book. I mean the John State book.
Yeah.
So Friday, somehow she gets hired to just to be at the cafe.
So easy to get a job.
I
don't know why anyone's unemployed. Just go pop in and say, can I have a job? Yeah, all right then.
And also Nina just goes and, I've never met you before, but I'm going to let you be in charge of the cafe because you're showing the sister.
They do that though, don't they? I'm sure they do it at the corner shop as well. They have these new hires with absolutely no experience and never met them before and say, yeah, can you look after it, please?
But do you know what happened the other day?
What?
I went up to the shop, right, and there's a man driving a bus, okay, and he pulled over to me and he went, I need the toilet. Can you just take this bus down to the next stop? And I said, no problem at all.
That's not what
And then I just drove, and then I had to stop at the next stop. He still wasn't there, and a lady came on, and I just let her in for free. And that's why you shouldn't trust random people to do your job for you.
Roy wasn't in today's episode, was he? Does he know about that he's got a new employee?
And no, as long as they say she's a waif who's been had a terrible upbringing and probably needs the guidance of a stoic man.
Well, she does have those vibes, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, she's either going to be an out-and-out villain, or she's going to be a bit of a Kylie-style wrong-un who will see the light. Or even a Shona
style, she started. They all start off as tea leaves. I want somebody to come in who's just really nice and great, and then turns evil instead of the other way around. Somebody at the end of it just goes, you know what, I'm sick of you lot. You're all maniacs, the pile of you.
I'm going to murder you all.
Yeah, I'm just wait till you're all asleep, and I'm going to go house by house with a big knife. And that's the end of Coronation Street. That's how it ends. We always wonder. Well,
Alan Bradley wasn't completely a wrong one when he first came in, was it? I'm sure there have been a few others that have turned.
Never. So, she's been left alone and she can't open the till. So who helps her but big burly hunky Carl
in his lucky burglar outfit again today, wasn't he?
Be careful. Meanwhile, David and Shona are in the hospital, and he's talking to her and going, maybe you're not in the right place mentally to take on Jodie's grief. We need to and she says, no, I have to help her. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find my dad and see why he's such a git. Because they share a dad.
Yes.
Jodie ends up chatting with Carl in the cafe, and
she is quite quickly gets his number, doesn't she?
I can see you're a sexy criminal.
You're a bit of a charmer, aren't you? You're a bit of a bad lad.
Yeah.
I think she kind of likes that, it looks like.
He's going to put her in a van again. She doesn't learn. Abby comes in, sees Carl, makes some snarky comments, and heads back out. And Jodie picks up there might be a bit of history there. She hasn't seen Corridor because she was in it. David and Shona get back home, and David tells Shona that she's not going to find her dad, and they're probably a bit busy with all the other drama they've got in their life, and she doesn't care, she's going to do it anyway. Carl and Jodie end up going for a drink in the pub, and as they part ways, Abby walks past and snipes again, and he doesn't care, and that's it.
Yeah, are you as turned off by the prospect of a Jodie and Carl bunk up as I am? Or do you like the idea that, you know, two
Maybe
villains together
implode.
to create the ultimate spawn?
Maybe I don't know. It doesn't bother me because I don't mind Carl as much as you do because I like villains.
I want him gone, and it feels like that with what's going on in that story at the moment is kind of leading towards Carl's exit, and now he's started saying, "Oh, can I just, you know, before I go, can I get involved in another story here?" And no, Carl, go to Germany.
Go to Germany. I just remembered that the other reason why it was weird about Kit is that not only did he not care that she was a witness, etc., but clearly he would have had to have told somebody that he saw a woman running in the woods who then went missing and they didn't look for her and they were like, oh, it's fine.
We'll never find her. It was dark.
There's loads of women live in the woods. It's probably one of those wild women that just lives in the woods. And they didn't say like witness wanted or like put out a missing persons poster or anything. They just went, sometimes women just do that. they just knock themselves out and they live in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll probably become a witch.
Yeah, Corrie's just like, hot and will deal with it.
Yeah,
Hot like,
it's not my
leave it to
jurisdiction.
Weatherfield. Kit was there.
Exactly.
And that's how things like this slip through the cracks.
Kit's like, oh my God, Dad, do you know what? I remembered I was going to do something about that missing woman, but now I don't need to worry about it.
Here you are. Right, Roy's storyline then, so we'll kind of brash through some of the others. Basically, he's writing to Alice on Monday and Nina's saying, you need to exchange phone numbers. Oh, this looks a little bit romantic. It feels like it's been quite a few weeks since this story was on last, and those first scenes are just re-establishing Nina thinking that Alice has got the hots for Roy, and Roy's like, sorry, I'm not interested. Of course, don't be silly. There's nothing romantic between us.
I don't want to be mean here, but I think if I was Nina, I wouldn't be so gung-ho about Roy making a romantic connection with somebody, because it's quite likely that it wouldn't work out, because he's a very special and unique person that you need a very special and particular unique person to be with. And I think that
it didn't work out with Kathy, did it? And she was lovely.
Quite possible that Alice might not be the person that's right.
Well, she certainly isn't, but for different reasons, isn't she? Basically, Roy gets mad at Nina for pushing him towards Alice when it's Hayley's anniversary.
Can't believe he brought that up.
It's terrible. And
he
texts Alice on Tuesday on his old brick phone. And
brings up Hayley dead again.
Yes. So whizzing through it, and basically then Wednesday's episode, we're at the stage where the stories are just this isn't about a story, it's already got 2 scenes in an episode. Wednesday is them saying, oh, hope he's not a catfisher, eh, Roy? And Roy has to have it explained to him what a catfisher is. And by the end of the episode, we find Nina saying, oh, it doesn't sound like she is one. But it is! It's a man! It's Griff, maybe, or maybe it's not. I don't know. We talked about that at the beginning of the episode, but yeah, exciting stuff. I
think it's possible that you could be called Alice and have a beard. I don't see that it's anyone's business.
Well, exactly. Why not? What is that? I think we've said everything we had to say about this earlier on, didn't we, in the clickbait section? But more to come next week, eh?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not somebody with a grudge, I mean, maybe it's a fellow bat enthusiast, because he does seem to feud with them every now and then.
Do you think Roy took the best roost or something? Or
maybe it's the guy who was trying to demolish the brewery.
Oh, yeah. Well, hang on a minute. I wasn't Johnny Gordon doing that.
Oh.
I think he's...
It'd be really funny if
he's
it's like somebody who had a feud with him over a bat.
Yeah,
like he did with
I have no
Gary
further.
that time.
I've got no further theories as to who Alice is than I did 2 hours ago when we talked about it less. So let's wound things down with what else Carl was getting up to this week.
He on Monday was not really doing anything, to be honest with you. Then on Tuesday,
he was just talking about Debbie, wasn't he?
On Tuesday, Tyrone and Sally are in the cafe because Kevin's been a dick again and they're worried about him. And he's also not getting on with Debbie. And then Tracy starts meddling again and says that Carl doesn't deserve anybody's sympathy. And Kevin goes home and smashes a picture of him and Debbie and a plate and a glass. And then Tyrone comes in and they stare at each other. That
was an interesting camera shot, wasn't it? Because they had the camera right down on the floor with the broken glass, looking up to Tyrone. I appreciated that one.
And Tyrone's like, look, let me help you. And Kevin's like, leave me alone. I hate Carl. He's driving that car and you know he was too. And Tyrone's like, yeah.
Rage, that man.
Carl needs sorting out. You know what I'm going to do? I'll show you on Wednesday. So on Wednesday...
Kevin should be on 28 Years Later, shouldn't he? Because that's the rage virus. We went to see that at the cinema last weekend. He's just imagining.
I don't want to see him running around with no pants on.
I was going to say that. We were going through the woods. It's like, oh, Kevin's got his willy out.
Wednesday, Tyrone just turns up in Debbie's flat.
Yeah, that was like a bit of a cold open to the episode, wasn't it? Like within the first 5 seconds of Wednesday, Tyrone's holding a crutch to Carl's throat.
It was interesting. It was definitely interesting to have a cold open.
It wasn't a proper cold
open. Well, no,
you know
it just like launched into drama.
Into the action, because they do that occasionally.
Because you don't see, like that time that Shona came in going, uh-oh.
I've just run over somebody. Yeah, I was thinking exactly that. It's quite good.
It's intriguing.
Usually the first few scenes are all just people either reminding us what happened last episode or maybe having their breakfast in the cafe.
But it was a bit confusing and...
Well, as for like, how did Tyrone get there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you've got 22 minutes, you don't need, like, we know that he probably walked up the stairs. He didn't teleport or anything.
I mean, I'm assuming that he just knocked on the door, Carla opened it and Ty pushes inside, but it doesn't matter. He's, I thought that this was very Tyrone because he's always been a bit of a scrappy do. And like, let me at him. And then whoever it is that he's going up against, whether it's, you know, Carl or Terry Duckworth, they're just like, what are you doing, squirt? And just push him away.
I know, I think I'm going to... me, who's just had a very traumatic car accident and still not recovered from, I'm going to beat up this guy who's definitely buffer and taller than me. But because I've got a crutch, so that's a weapon, isn't it?
Exactly.
It doesn't really work very well. And Carl feels so sad for him, he brings him some water.
Well, he has to pretend, doesn't he? He uses this as an opportunity to somehow manipulate poor gullible Tyrone into believing that everything that Kevin was saying was just because he's a bit narc that he copped off with Abby.
Well, he says, look, we need to help Kevin. Otherwise, who knows what will happen. He's going to run through the woods with no trousers on.
Speaking of weapons.
Oh, yeah. Good film. I like that film. Tyrone goes to the pub with Fizz and he's clearly been sweet-talked by Carl. I'm not convinced I felt like that scene would have done it for me, but...
No, that was far too rushed. That was even more rushed than Carla and Lisa's reunion.
This is the trouble, because days don't really stretch over more than one episode now.
No, which I was really pleased with.
But it's to the detriment of things like this.
Maybe, but I am very much appreciating that every day, every episode is an episode. And I thought as well, and I wrote a little note here that I realised now.
You said every day, every episode is an episode.
Every episode is a day. I thought that on Monday, Ronnie referred to what happened last week with the slap as the other day.
Yes.
And the other day
really
used to be the phrase that Coronation Street would always use to refer to the previous episode. But for the past 10 years or so, the previous episode has been yesterday. It's always yesterday, and tomorrow is the next episode. They literally have a 3-day week. Now they're on a 5-day week. And on Monday, when Ronnie said the other day when Summer slapped you, it's like, hallelujah, they've acknowledged that there is such a thing as a weekend in Weatherfield. But then I went and had a look on the YouTube version of this and put the subtitles on, and the subtitles label it as yesterday. But I don't think he says yesterday. But then, later on in the episode anyway, Megan referred to
Friday.
the last episode as yesterday. So they still
You got
haven't
really
quite
mad.
got it.
You got
And then
really
I was
mad,
mad. My hopes were dashed. Can't they just pretend that they have some days off where there's no drama? They
Yeah,
had to
they
do it
should
back
do.
in the day, didn't they? When there was only 2 days a week, you can get away with saying that every day follows after the next. Because one of the episodes that we were just watching recently from 1963 talks about like somebody coming around someone's house and they said, "Oh, and he's been under our feet ever since." It's like, yes, time has passed. It's my mate.
I know.
It really sticks in my gullet. It winds me up something proper.
How can they...
when they can't acknowledge that maybe it didn't happen the previous day? Well, it doesn't have to. Not every day needs to be a drama day. We all have our off days, don't we? Some characters go months without anything. Toya's not had a... Is she, next time Toya has some drama, or is she just going to say yesterday as if to make us think that... Oh, God.
This is why they shouldn't take anything we say seriously or, like, worry about people nitpicking, because how could you care about writing things so that you say yesterday or not, depending on what day it was?
What difference does it make?
Well, yeah, what difference does it make to you?
It really winds me
I know
up.
it does.
What difference does it make to if someone's doing something on Friday episode to say on Monday to refer to it?
I don't know why they do it that way, and I can see why it annoys you.
I can see that in some
just teasing
storylines the drama is so intense that they wouldn't just say, time out, let's get back to this on Monday, let's just spend a couple of days reflecting on it.
I think they
and
do,
you have to have it happen the next day.
They don't want to draw too much attention to the fact that things are happening in a way that doesn't always make sense, like timeline-wise. This is why you couldn't have... Like, things happen really quickly or really slowly on this show just because of the nature of the fact it's on every day.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's teetering over the edge of a cliff at the end of Friday's episode and then Monday comes round, obviously that can't be Monday and they've just been standing there for 2 days. So another character in another story. Oh, look.
Yeah, I know that, but they don't care. They don't really care. It's the same thing as, like, we don't really know how long Carla was supposed to be in a closet, in a boot, in a shipping container. We've got no idea. Like, realistically, she would be dead.
Yeah, without a kidney medicine.
Well, even with kidney medicine, even if you didn't need kidney medicine, she was away for many days with no food or water in a cold place in winter.
Yeah. But anyway, I am still glad and I'm still very happy that they are making each day its own day. That's making me feel content.
But what if they didn't? Because sometimes I think
my eye might start to twitch again.
Sometimes I think, though, that you can't get everything done in one episode.
No, sometimes
for
you
a
can't.
day.
But it used to be sometimes that would feel special when they did it. Like, I remember quite vividly watching the scenes where Alma gets kidnapped by Don and then driven into the canal back in 97, maybe it was it. And like, she gets kidnapped on a Monday. I'm just making up the day. It could have been any day. And then the Wednesday episode was set on the same day.
Probably wasn't a Tuesday.
And the Friday episode was set on the same day.
Yeah,
and I remember at the time,
I
genuinely remember at the time thinking, so hang on a minute, we've got some disappearing days here because this was Monday and then the next episode is also a Monday and that's so weird, it doesn't make sense. But now that's just par for the course.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my rant over. I've probably had that rant many a time on the podcast before.
We're not...
my conclusion is I'm glad that they're doing a good job of it and not taking the temptation to stretch.
But they are, though.
No, they're not at the moment. Every episode starts on a different day.
I thought you were talking about yesterday and the other day, but you're not. Right, so Tyrone and Fizz are talking in the pub. No, it's fine. You can get mad about things. And he says that Kevin is in a weird mood, and then Kevin comes and talks to him, and he says, "Yeah, I confronted Carl." And Tyrone tells Kevin that he thinks that maybe Kevin's overreacting and Carl didn't do anything wrong. Maybe, I can't remember. And then Kevin's you're an idiot and goes.
Kevin comes to the pub and Tyrone's like, "What if, Kevin, you were making it up? What if you're overreacting?
What if it's wrong? What if you're wrong?"
I would be so fuming if I was Kevin at this point, because Kevin knows. He's seen the evidence.
Yeah.
He's the only person, apart from Jack and
Stupid Jack and Liam,
who's seen this video which has now been corrupted or lost or whatever. And, you know, that's on them. They should have made a copy. So but I do really feel for him that he's seeing his best mate, supposedly, Tyrone, being
fooled.
Very easily
nemesis.
fooled by his,
Nephew
adulterous brother. Nephew, exactly.
Did you know now that if you go to itv.com/advice, there is a section about cloud storage for videos? No, of course there's not.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that.
Do you have trouble with disappearing videos? Is there some evidence of a crime you've lost because somebody pulled out a USB stick too quickly? Well, have you thought about storing things online?
Oh my gosh, okay.
I think he needs to sign up for Google.
Right, that was it for this week. There was a little tease that maybe we're going to return to the Todd and Theo and Billy and Summer storyline next week, didn't we? Because we had like 2 scenes with Summer in today. One of them, she doesn't like seeing Carl in the pub, so she goes to the flat.
Carl? Why does she not like Carl?
Because Carl was involved in the crash.
He fell asleep. It wasn't his fault. He died.
Anyway, well, because she slapped Debbie, didn't she?
Yeah, I know.
And
she
Carl
did.
is all tied up there, basically. So anyway, she goes back to the flat with Nina, and she just wants to be alone so that she can have a sit and listen to a voicemail that Billy recorded for her, and have a cry about it. So
if only he'd done a podcast.
Yeah, I know. Endless hours of entertainment if we ever pop our clogs. You can have a good old weep to us.
Yeah, the funeral's going to be soon, surely.
The funeral, yeah, I think the funeral is very, very soon. So it wouldn't surprise me if this wasn't the build up to Billy's funeral.
They must be doing something at the funeral. There must be some kind of plot development there, because at this point, why even bother having it?
Well, you know,
I mean, they don't do funerals for so often.
No, but you know, we've had it before.
We didn't have
where
Craig's
there was
funeral. We had people
they
talking
had it
about
in Norfolk, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a good funeral.
No, I mean, we've had it before where somebody's killed somebody and then they've had to go along to their funeral, and
give a eulogy.
Yeah, well, like Richard at Maxine's funeral.
It's a classic.
He had to, didn't he?
Do you know what? If ever you're in doubt about who was the murderer, it's normally the person who inadvertently has to do the eulogy.
Yeah, if somebody has to do one because the other person can't turn up. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So there was this week's Coronation Street, which I thought was okay.
The thing is about it is that a lot of these stories, I'm like, oh man, I don't like this. It's not... I enjoy talking to you about it.
Oh, thanks.
But like a lot of this is miserable, isn't it? Like, oh, he's a paedophile that's pregnant, and oh, Lisa and Carla are sad, and but now they're back together. That's fine.
Roy's about to get bashed on the head with a baseball bat at the convention next week. It was a little bit dark. I don't think there's any stories here that I'm like, I am on the edge of my seat with this story. You know, Debbie didn't make an appearance this week. We haven't seen Hyde and O'Hara, Christina or George.
No,
so some of the character selections. But then, you know, Shona and David are fun characters.
Yeah, but they've got sad times.
Yeah. So I think probably this week I'm going to go with 3 chunks of carrot and Lisa's sick.
Oh no, why did you say that for?
Out of 5.
That's
well, Carrie
horrible.
wanted to make a joke out of her being sick, so why can't I?
What do you think she ate the carrots then?
Oh, probably one of Nick's veggie lasagnas that he's just
God.
taken around the street saying, literally, Toya keeps making these. Would you like it? I don't want
They said it was Nick that made it.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's just his cover story. A character of the week wise, I mean... Jodie was very intriguing, but also a bit skin crawly. But then I could say the same with Megan, who I still do actually find a very interesting character, as vile as what she's doing it as. Carla and Lisa was quite fun, obviously.
Can I just say, I've seen what you think. A lot of people saying that they're making her too sympathetic.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what we've said that before.
I haven't said that I find her sympathetic.
No, we have had this conversation. I've said that I think she comes across as a bit she could come across as being sympathetic when she shouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that really, except for that it's quite valuable to realise that not all villains have twirling moustaches, and that somebody who is actually seems like an alright person can turn out to be a vile monster. Yeah. And I don't think that there are many victims or families of victims who wouldn't recognise something about the way that Megan is that they haven't seen in the person who, you know, took advantage of their loved one or themselves. You know, I think that that's how they operate. I think that also a woman who does this has a very different approach to a man who's doing it.
Oh yeah,
I think you know there are different. I think there are lots of different ways of sort of cultivating your victims, and some of it's power based. But clearly, Megan's exploiting the fact that she's very attractive, and petite, and innocent looking, and using that to kind of skate through and to get her attract her victims.
I think I might actually go with Lisa as my character of the week this week, because I did find her drunk acting kind of funny, and even like, I've got memories this week of, you know, like Lisa having fun with Sally, sort of having the conversation with her, having the glass against the wall. I thought that I did feel kind of bad for her. I know that she's, say what you like about her, but I felt bad when Carla was standing her up, as it were, and she was so desperate to get back to her. And I thought there were some more great performances from Vicky. So in a week where nobody really jumps out to me, I think I'm going to go with old Lise.
Old Lise. I'm going to give this week 3 reminders that it's the anniversary of Hayley's death. Who am I? I thought of who I was going to give it to, and I've forgotten. I think I was going to give it to Jodie.
Yeah, she was my close second.
I was quite delighted when I realised that she was copying this poor woman's story of domestic abuse, which again makes you wonder, does she not have one of her own?
Yeah, how much of what she's saying?
It is odd that she couldn't muster anything. Like, is it because she doesn't want to share something personal with Shona because she hates her? Or actually, is it all a big lie when she's saying that her dad abused her? And actually, was it Shona that was the one who got abused? And actually, Jodie had a fine time of it? Because quite often, families have this weird dynamic where somebody's a golden child and somebody else, gets the black sheep treatment.
If the story is that Jodie is kind of jealous in some way of Shona and wants to be Shona, wants to emulate her, wants to take over her life, wants to take over her husband, does she also, in some kind of weird twisted way, want to take over her abuse and say, yeah, what happened to you happened to me as well? Or maybe it was even worse. Because you're right, she's definitely lying about that. And if she had a hunky about the fact that she had to copy this woman's story meant that it didn't happen to her. But
but why couldn't she?
Why couldn't she draw her own opinion, her own
or is it
experience?
just a storytelling device, and we wouldn't have known she was lying in any other way? Because it was a very clever way of making it very obvious that she made it up.
Yeah, but why does she need? Yeah, why does she need to lie? That's the question.
I know, but how could you have demonstrated that she's lying without that scene? It would have been it was a very clever and efficient way, and I think that Coronation Street, the writing now is going to have to focus on efficiently telling a story, and you've seen that with Tyrone teleporting into Debbie's flat to attack Carla at the beginning of an episode. Like, I think if it was an hour-long episode, we would have seen a bit more of him coming into the
probably.
The
but it didn't feel like it was missing.
No, exactly. But how much can they really trim the fat before it starts becoming a tasteless diet food?
Yeah, fed to a tin by Sally.
What a Karen.
So maybe Shona is going to find their dad and go, how could you treat Jodie
and he's
like
this? What,
he's
like a princess?
Yeah, I didn't at all.
Yeah.
And then that's how it's going to unravel.
I didn't. I wasn't mean to
order.
her. I bought her a horse. Then she moved to Emmerdale, and then she locked herself in a van.
If Jodie gets so far into this, I really don't want David to have an affair with her, and I don't want him to use the excuse of, well, you did sleep with Kit that one time. I would hope that David, he's a bit more honourable than that. I don't know. This is David Platt we're talking about.
David slept with Gemma, or no, Emma.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? I think he did. But so anyway, but it's because I like David and Shona together. But
well, I mean, it would be so Corrie to go, we've got this really interesting story about a couple that are struggling with their relationship due to the trauma of having a child with is very ill and needs medical attention and blah, blah, blah. But what if they had an affair?
I don't. Yeah. But anyway, maybe they get so far embroiled in this affair and David is completely fallen hook, line and sinker for Jodie's lies, and when Shona then finds their dad, then that's going to be what she can use to take Jodie down and reveal her as being a massive liar.
What if Jodie goes to get David and David says no and tells Shona, but Shona doesn't believe him because Jodie says it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and then she kicks him out.
Side with? Yeah, that's a good point. And how is Carl going to be involved in this as well? Because I would say, although I didn't like the idea of Jodie and Carl together, I'd certainly prefer that over her taking dear David away from Shona.
But also, I don't want Jodie to be involved in his downfall, and I can't see how her being around is going to facilitate him going faster.
No, exactly.